Hi, my name is Nathan Oakley, and I have been lying to people about the Earth being flat for a lot of years. I did this to hide the fact I have a small penis.
I'm a dumb flat earther, and I don't understand science.
I can see you. If you're not dancing, you'll be on Santa's milk. Base bomb protection level is over 9,000.
Alright,
We're living on a disk, floating through space, with a tiny sun.
Hey, I'm FTFE and welcome back to the channel that does to stupidity what Jesse did to Todd and Walter did to Uncle Jack. Yes, finally reached the final episode of Breaking Bad, and some brutal stuff. Spoiler alert. I mean, it's been out for years. Anyway, so tonight is a special one, going back to talk with the official Top Left 2023 nominee, specifically nominated by MC Toon, Flatzoid. We're going to go over and have a chat with him and his crew of intellectuals and see what kind of fun we can have. Me and Flats have a chat for about an hour. I've got a few things I want to ask him. I'm sure he's got some things he can ask me. And then we're actually going to open up the panel to both sides so we can try and have a structured conversation between multiple people, because that always goes really well. You know, why not? I want to say thank you to so many people being here straight away at the start. Thank you everyone for joining the stream. It means the absolute world to me. To help the stream reach even more people, please be slaves of Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos and stuff, and put it on Twitter and Facebook and Mark Zuckerberg, not Jeff Bezos. I know some people said their only Facebook friend is Tom from MySpace, but it doesn't matter. Anyway, let's do it. Let's go over and say hello to the one, the only, thank goodness me, Flatzoid. Flatzoid, my friend, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, and yourself? Sorry, my camera doesn't want to work on because I'm in OBS at the moment.
That's all right. Yeah, you need a camera splitter so you can go to multiple things.
Yeah, definitely. But I'm gonna get another camera as well, so no stress. Soon.
Yeah, that'll work. Also, you should upgrade from OBS to a system called vMix. Much better.
Yeah, you were telling me it's better.
Aye.
I even tried Prism for a while, but that was rubbish.
What did you try?
Prism.
No, I've not even ever heard of that. So.
It's easy to use all the widgets and stuff, but I don't think it can take as much as OBS though.
Right. Yeah, OBS is also a bit of a resource hog, so that always sucks.
Yeah. If it does updates and stuff, then it's a mission to get everything back.
Yeah. Right. Thank you for asking me to come along for another debate. It's been a few months since we last clashed. I watched a recent debate with Mr. Sensible. Very much enjoyed that. How did you think that went?
That was a nice little chat. Nice and chill.
He's a good dude, isn't he, Mr. Sensible?
I enjoyed talking to him, yeah. I did enjoy talking to him.
I don't care what side of the debate you're on. I don't think there's many people, well, maybe Mitchell from Australia, but I don't think there's many people that can say Mr. Sensible's, nasty or anything. he's just genuinely one of the nicest people that I've ever spoken to. He actually popped into my house about a year or so ago when he was up this neck of the woods, and we had dinner and stuff here. Met his missus. That was quite nice.
Okay, that's quite cool. Yeah,
Right.
you guys are all nice and close to each other, so that's. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm a bit far from everybody.
Yeah, a little bit further down there in South Africa. So I did ask you to ask the audience for a particular subject, but you thought that we could just wing it. So
Yeah, look, Michael Kahn had an idea. He's one idea. He wants to talk about how you can prove Earth's rotation. But like I said, yeah, wing it so you can choose anyone, and we just rebut it and talk from there, kind of thing.
yeah, do you want to let other people in straight away, or do you want to have a little chat between just us first? It's up to you.
Yeah, I think let's first have just us for, like you said, for an hour, the debate for the hour, and then we let the
Yeah.
people come in and do their.
Earth's rotation is one of my favourite subjects. That's something I've specialised in quite a lot.
Cool.
But yeah, so I've got a couple of questions that I've got lined up for you. But have you got anything for me? And maybe we go back and forth.
Not actually. I just, like I said, it's actually quite unplanned. We're just taking a chill, so.
No worries. So
I do want to ask you though. I just want to ask you one thing.
Yeah.
Have you managed to be able to show that refracted hand demonstration yet?
Your video is in production, but obviously due to a lot of things, I've put my actual videos on the back burner for a little bit whilst I get my health sorted. But I do have a very particular demonstration that I have planned for you using an infrared camera that will clear up that. So just be patient with that, because when you said, oh, you have to show a demonstration of that, I racked my brains as to how I could show a demonstration. Because the amount of refraction coming from your hand is extremely slight because of the change in temperatures and, you know, the density variations between your eye and your hand. The refraction that's happening is so slight that it's very complicated to actually be able to show that in a way that is, you know, tangible. So I've racked my brains, but I've put together a little experiment that's going to be part of the video for you that I think I'm quite proud of. So.
I appreciate it, yeah. I'm just excited to see it. That's all.
So I watched your recent video against Where's Wally, and I had a couple of questions for you, if you don't mind.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So for people watching, Where's Wally did a video recently talking about how a recent rocket launch, there was images taken from several different positions, and from one of the positions it took, 95 seconds to be able to see the rocket from where they were. And I'm just going to play what you said about it, so just bear with me.
After the rocket launch, it takes 95 seconds from launch pad 39A at sea level to get to be above the horizon as seen from Myrtle Beach.
Yeah, I can't hear anything.
95 seconds.
Oh.
Yes, that's...
Oh, that's not coming through to you. Oh, bugger.
No.
Oh, wait, sorry, one sec. I have got the wrong input on for you, that is why. That needs to come from there.
A,
can you hear it
very
now?
similar height above sea level. You can see the ocean just...
Is that working?
Okay, I could hear it now, yeah.
Yeah, right, okay, right.
Just beside 39A.
This
Things for you.
I lost what it was now.
Yeah.
Sorry, one sec.
So
When you
gonna be
when you change elevation, you push out your field of view.
so yeah.
Sorry, I lost the
Water
point.
level.
Do note that's not actually for globe. We'll be explaining that in a minute or two.
But then I want to have a look at the video center left. The video
One big
39A is just under 600 kilometers.
Sorry, I
Myrtle
skipped
Beach,
back from the bit of
pad
the video that I
39A, very similar
Oh,
height
straight.
above sea level. You can see the ocean just beside 39A. And anything at the horizon.
this whole
Things
gonna be
And then we do, where is it?
yes, that's
Yeah, here
what
we
I
go.
just said. Being able to call that acute angle.
Yes,
obtuse.
yeah, after this bit. Right,
Just
my bad.
saying.
But after the rocket launch, it takes 95 seconds from launch pad 39A at sea level to get to be above the horizon as seen from Myrtle Beach.
95 seconds.
Yes, that's what I just said. 95 seconds.
Traveling at 2,477 kilometers an hour. And it is altitude 23.1 kilometers. Let's
Right, so we're talking about how long it takes for the rocket to be seen after launch from the location it was filmed. And there was 95 seconds before it could be seen.
Yeah.
And what you do next is you try to you do distance over time to work out how long it should take, right?
I have a calculator set up here. We're going to solve for the distance.
You need a calculator to do this? Oh well, at least you know what you can and what you can't do. I just hope you do the right calculation.
Let's put the speed. You see, I've already got it. 2477 and 95 seconds. Let's calculate it, guys. Remember, their answer was 23 in altitude. 65.3655 kilometers.
You realize...
Right. So, what is your claim here? Because I didn't really follow what you were saying. So, do you think you could talk me through what you've tried to do here to disprove Wally's claim?
I literally wanted him to go and do the maths for it for a reason, because I wanted to do a video on it. So that's why I left this in without the acceleration, and then I said there I did not take acceleration into account. Because I wanted Where's Wally to do the math for a reason. But yeah, he did do it for me, so that's great. So I think you guys would have to wait for that video to see why I did it.
Right, so when you're saying that when you did this calculation, you purposely left out the fact that it would need to accelerate?
Yeah, it was more like a bait kind of thing.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, because even in his video, you can, on my video, or I think it was one of my video, when he was commenting, there's a comment where it literally says, yes, I want you to do the math.
Right.
So he should actually show that comment.
He actually did do the math, and it came up very well. Right. Okay.
But you'll see why I said that.
Right, fair enough. I mean, that was kind of my main point here. Could you talk me through your thoughts on what this diagram shows? Because, again, I don't want to straw man you in any way, but I have some thoughts on what you've been saying.
Yeah, it all goes down to, I'll try to explain this. Obviously, I had to compress it this way to kind of somehow visually show you guys that there is perspective when looking through things in the distance. We know that if you had to put it in orthographic, it doesn't take perspective into view, so that's why it gives that compression on my graph. If I had to just stick totally to orthographic, then it would obviously be, you know, like he put it down at the bottom, the 600 nautical miles at exactly the same paces. But I needed to do it like this on purpose to actually try and visually show you guys perspective in an orthographic view. But like I've stated, orthographic view does not take perspective into account. Now you see that arc. Yeah. I was looking from that guy that's 5,400 nautical miles away from Polaris. It's starting to give an arc upwards to Polaris that would be at the 90 degrees. That's an inverted sphere.
Why an arc?
Because it compresses in the distance to the observer from the star, if you will, by the star, and it compresses to the distance from the observer to the star from the observer.
But what you've done is...
Everything converges. It was me trying to explain how it converges to give the appearance of Earth curve.
So there's no maths or anything behind the reason why you've completely, mucked up the scale along the x-axis and the y-axis. You've just done that to show... Right, hold on. So are you saying that this would be the view, if the person was at 0, this would be how they would view those positions from there, and that's why they're closer together?
Yeah, based on perspective, if you had to try and push perspective into orthographic.
Yeah, okay, that really doesn't make any sense and kind of distorts reality to what you actually see.
This has got to do with the field of view. You see that dome kind of thing that I put there?
Yeah.
That followed every person from their zenith. So as it follows them, Polaris on that dome would drop based on the field of view. And that would give an apparent altitude change. And that compression convergence, you could say, would cause it to look like it's dropping. And that's why your measurements show to your globe curved floor where it's just actually a curved ceiling because of perspective.
But field of view wouldn't have anything to do with seeing an angle, an elevation angle. They're the opposite.
It has everything to do with it. A
Well, the field of
you
view is
have
like
your
left
limit
to right,
see
right?
something, correct?
Whereas elevation angle is up and down. You can say you've got like
Elevation
an 120 degrees field of view. That's left to right. That's going to be nothing to do with the angle that you see Polaris in the sky.
Field of view is also vertical. It's not only horizontal.
Well, not when you're talking about elevation angle. You're kind of interchanging the two.
You cannot have a field of view without an elevation angle. You literally have to have a flat baseline to be able to see your field of view.
Of course, you can have an elevation angle without a field of view.
Now,
an elevation angle is literally just an angle between 2 points. An angle isn't field of view. They're separate things, and you can have an angle without.
Your field of view is determined by your angle.
Your field of view is determined by your elevation angle.
Yeah, which is a horizontal baseline.
But your field of view is something that's also measured in angles, so you're using them interchangeably.
From a horizontal baseline. Remember, an angle is 2 straight lines from a vertex.
But that's what your field of view is. So you're using field of view and elevation angle interchangeably, which you shouldn't.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm trying to explain this based on trying to show a perspective explanation on orthographic. Orthographic does not show perspective, and this is why I was trying to show this.
Do you have any mathematical basis to back up the transformation that you tried to do?
No, because it's impossible to do. It's literally just...
But you've done it here. You've done something which is what you're saying describes a certain thing, but it isn't how it works in reality. So there has to be some kind of transformation from what reality shows to what you've put here.
Of course it works out in reality. That math up on the side there, does that not work out?
Yeah, but the way you've laid out the graph doesn't, because you compress the axis, and that's not what happens in reality. In reality, the distance of a mile stays 1 mile. It doesn't compress like that. And 10 degrees elevation stays 10 degrees elevation. It doesn't compress like that. So what you've displayed, the maths on the left is correct, but it doesn't represent what you've put there on your graph. The graph isn't a match of reality.
The graph is definitely a match of reality.
Well, no, because miles don't change what a mile is.
You got a tiled floor, correct?
Yeah. And each tile is going to be, I'm literally in the middle of tiling my kitchen at the moment. And each tile is 20 centimeters by 20 centimeters. And that 20 centimeters doesn't change from being 20 centimeters now, no matter how far away I get from the original tile that I've laid.
The physical distances stay the same, but your optical distances change. Does that tile that's, let's say, 10 meters away from you optically look the same as the one that's a meter away?
Well, no, because alpha equals alpha equals 2 times the arctan of g over 2r. So things in the distance are going to appear, the angle of things in the distance are going to appear smaller than it actually is. But that doesn't change what the actual size of it is. And what you've done, there's no mathematical basis behind the way you've compressed what's here to represent reality. You've just said, well, if the angle that you see is compressed, then this is what I think should happen, with no basis behind it. It's just, I almost get what you're trying to do. You're trying to explain an idea that you've got in your head, but you've done it with no basis to matching with reality, no way to actually back up what it shows.
Is that okay? So when you stand 2,400 nautical miles away, do you see Polaris at 60 degrees?
I'm going to assume that's correct.
Yes, that's what my graph shows. So obviously it shows basis in reality. If
right. So you're right.
Away,
okay, so what you're showing is correct. So you're showing that at 0 miles away from Polaris it's at 90 degrees, and at X miles away it's at X degrees. But your graph doesn't represent reality because of the way you've compressed things along the X and the Y axis. That's not what happens in reality. It's
In
does
reality,
that, and
if
that's
I
why it doesn't
stand-
represent reality.
Oh, yes, it does. In reality, if I stand at a certain distance and I measure an apparent altitude angle, is that star literally dropping, or is it only apparently dropping to that altitude angle that I measured?
Well, the altitude angle physically changes.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, if you measure the
You're
altitude
talking
angle from a
perspective
different
now.
distance, the altitude angle has physically changed. That's
Okay.
that's
So-
almost what you're trying to show with your graph. So if you move,
Are you
you
saying
know,
Polaris
10.
physically drops?
No, I'm saying the angle to Polaris physically changes based on your position.
So Polaris stays always the same altitude, correct? No matter your distance from it.
In reality, it would always be a certain distance above a point because the Earth's a globe and it's millions and billions of miles away. But the actual position of the actual maths of what you see Polaris do when you move away from it is a constant thing. So for every 69 miles, or for every 69 nautical miles, it drops 1 degree, right?
Yeah.
So, but
Due
that's
to
not,
perspective.
so even though you've got the numbers correct, you've not shown what happens in reality because your x-axis is changing its scale as it goes. Therefore, it cannot represent reality because that's not what happens in reality.
It does happen in reality. I just explained with your tiles. It's an
Yeah, the
optical
tiles don't
demonstration.
physically change. The tiles' lengths are
No,
always the
but
same.
it optically changes.
Yeah,
It
but you
optically
can't
changes.
represent what optically happens on a graph that's supposed to represent distance.
So you understand when I say orthographic view?
Yeah,
is
and
not
so this isn't an
perspective-based?
orthographic view. This is a nonsense view that you've made up in your mind. Because an orthographic
No.
view shows how the angle drops, making the surface a curve, because otherwise the actual position of Polaris would change in the sky if you do the trigonometry of that side of the triangle. So
Again,
my point is that
Now,
in
why-
reality,
remember-
the x-axis
Okay, I'm
doesn't
gonna ask-
squish.
I'm going to ask you something. Is perspective-based optical or physical?
Perspective is distance-based.
But I'm asking you, when you look in three-dimensional view, perspective-based, is what you see optical or physical?
Everything that you see is optical. And that's been one of my points for a long time, is that you never see the physical anything. You see the light that is bouncing off of a thing.
Can I quickly share screen?
Yes, sure. I should have permission. One sec.
Yeah, it says because you're sharing screen, I can't. That's why.
No, I shouldn't be sharing screen. That's I'm just doing it for virtual camera, so you should be able to share screen now.
Okay, got it. Share screen. There we go. You've obviously.
Okay. Still there? Flatzoid, your audio's cut out. Hello? Flatzoid, your audio, I can't hear you.
Hello.
Oh, there you go.
Okay. I see when I share screen, it mutes me.
Ah. Weird. Shouldn't do that.
Yeah, as soon as I start sharing screen, it mutes. But okay, I'm going to just quickly show you that. I don't need to talk, but I just want you to quickly see. What I'm going to show you, it's literally like a few seconds, maybe
Okay.
30 seconds. And then I'll come explain it to you, okay?
Roger?
Sure. Okay.
So the sun goes behind the physical thing. Yes. Yeah, we know that. Yeah. Oh no, it went behind the bucket.
Okay, am I back?
Yeah.
Okay, you saw that. Did you see it was dropping in apparent altitude?
Yeah, and then I saw how it was blocked by a physical horizon. Yeah.
Yeah, occulted by things that are in the way of it, like the paint cans.
Yeah, which could be the physical horizon of the Earth. So we saw the sun drop below the physical horizon of the Earth.
But you do know that was a flat surface, and this light was exactly the same altitude going in the distance.
Yeah.
So what you observed there was perspective, correct?
Yeah, and then you saw the sun get physically blocked by something. Yeah. Something was physically in the way of us seeing the sun. There wasn't any angle at any point where that bucket could have been above the sun or below the sun, because from that position the sun went below the bucket. It was physically blocked.
Right.
It wasn't just far enough away. There wasn't a limited viewing angle. The sun was just physically blocked by that bucket.
That is a physical viewing angle.
No, there was zero angle. There was zero angle. There wasn't a limited angle. There was zero angle to the sun. The sun was physically behind that bucket. Yeah.
So I just showed then a sun setting on a flat Earth then.
Only if flat Earth has several different horizons, because what you showed was the sun being physically blocked by something.
Yes, based on angle.
There was no angle left. The angle was gone. The sun would have been physically below the horizon from that point of view. What you showed was the sun being physically blocked by a physical thing, which wouldn't happen if the Earth was flat, because the Earth doesn't rise up like the wood. You had the camera above the point of where the buckets was, below the point of where the bucket was. So the sun was physically blocked by the bucket. Nothing to do with viewing angle, because there was no viewing angle. That wasn't representative of what would happen if the Earth was flat, because you don't see your position from below the Earth.
Okay, Craig. Remember when I said I want to show you in reality that it does look like it's physically dropping, but it's not actually dropping? You just validated that whole graph that you just said was rubbish. Thank you. No,
not at all, because again, the graph doesn't represent reality, because the x-axis. But the x-axis still doesn't change. If you were representing what you just did in that video, the buckets would be equally placed along this, not compressed, because that's not what happens in reality. The point is, you have shown a graph which is not a way to represent reality. You have shown a graph to represent what you think you want it to represent, without any mathematical basis behind it.
Craig, like I said with your tiles, the physical distances are the same. Your apparent distances change due to perspective. That's what that graph is showing. Not the physical distances changing, the apparent distances changed.
Yeah, you can't represent that on a graph of distances, because there is no scale to your graph. Therefore, it doesn't have any basis in reality. Have you done anything to confirm that the amount of compression that you've put on that graph is what you would see in reality? Because there would be a mathematical basis behind that. You would be able to do that.
The radius.
The
radius maximum. The radius maximus. The maximum of your radius to the circumference is the reason why you have that. And I can show that now on that actual graph.
So therefore there would be a transformation possible from an accurate scale to what you've shown. So can I see that transformation? Because if there isn't a way to transform between one view to the other, then one of them doesn't represent reality. I mean, oh yeah, are you still there? You've gone very quiet. Hello?
Sorry, I pressed the wrong button. I wanted to
I was
add a
wondering
new
what
tab.
happened then.
I wanted to add a new tab, and I'm like talking, and I see no one's there. Okay, let me get
I
back
mean, not to mention the
just-
fact that the angular size of the sun in your video reduced by a significant amount, which is not what we see in reality either.
Yeah, but remember this parallax. That's the reason why the sun changes in such small amounts. But anyway, back
But
to
again,
what
that's
we're
not what you
talking
showed in
about.
your video, so, I mean...
Yeah, well, it's a much closer distance.
Yeah.
That's
So,
why we'll get to that now.
a more
I'm gonna quickly share
accurate
this-
representation of what you've done is to say that there's a mountain blocking the sun or something in your representation.
If it's got a larger angular size,
Yeah.
then it limits
Now,
the field of view,
right.
correct.
So, the height of the bucket. What was the camera? Was the camera above or below the bucket?
Below the bucket. But even
Right.
if I had it
So
above,
in
even
reality,
if I had
so
it above,
no,
even
no.
if I had it above and I had the distance far enough, it would still get to a point where you can't see it anymore.
Can you
it's
do that
converted.
and
But anyway,
show us?
back to the
Because I
argument.
don't think it would.
Okay, but can you just get back to the argument? I'm going to share the screen again.
Well, yeah.
Obviously,
yeah,
I can't talk.
yeah.
So I'm just going to show it quickly.
Okay,
What
all
I
right,
want
go
to
ahead.
show, and then I'll explain to you what I'm showing. Okay. Okay. And screen.
Okay.
So, hear me.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so what I was showing there was, you see that kind of domed thing there. That's your field of view that you have. That's your maximum that you can see on the field of view. So as the guy was moving further away, you saw the radius can only go maximum to that circumference. So the apparent drop follows that arc of that field of view.
But that's not what you showed in your video.
That's exactly what I showed.
No, what you showed in your video, the red guy on your graph would be below that line, right? So,
It would be
right, let's
5,400
talk about
miles
the
away.
video and what you showed, right? All those buckets were the same height, right? So the height of those buckets would be representing the surface of the Earth, okay? So your camera was below the surface of the Earth, which is not what we see in reality. That, you know, anyone below the surface of the Earth is going to see the sun disappear, whether it's moving away from us or the Earth is rotating. Because that's what you've shown. You've shown the position of someone buried several feet below the ground. If you were to raise the camera to the height of the bucket or just the height of the bucket, that sun would never go out of view.
So changing elevation does push the sun out further, your field of view out further. so
Which
you can
matches
see
the
sun.
predictions of the globe, yeah. And doesn't make any sense if the Earth is
Ah,
flat.
so it was a flat surface showing that, so not a globe then.
Well, what you're showing is a flat surface. And my point
Yeah,
is,
it-
if
it
the
demonstrated
surface was
your point.
flat, right? If you were to show the representation of a flat surface by having the camera actually on that flat surface, that sun would never disappear, because on a flat Earth, the sun would never set. It could never set. It's very simple.
Yes,
I
I
have
demonstrated-
modelled this out personally, right? So have a look at this. So we've got 4 cameras of the same view here. One looking at the sun, one looking at the side, I suppose you could call that orthographic, one straight down, and one that's actually the view of the camera itself from where it is on the Earth. And it watches the sun go across the entire Earth. And I mapped this out to an accurate scale of how many miles the Earth is, and put the sun about 1,000 miles up as just an arbitrary distance, right? And what it shows is that at no point whatsoever would the sun ever go out of view. across the entire Earth. There's no reason at all, absolutely, that perspective would make the sun disappear. And I've got 4 views here on purpose because I'm taking perspective into account by showing it from the side and the front and everything.
Where's convergence shown there?
Describe what you mean by convergence.
I don't see convergence shown there. Perspective.
Describe what you mean by convergence.
It converges to your eye level. Relative
What does?
to your eye level. The object you're viewing in the distance is supposed to be converging relative to your eye level.
Well, if it got far enough away, then it may do that, but it's not getting far enough away. The sun the top right view, okay. If you look at the top right view, that is what the person standing in North America would see looking at the sun, as the sun went all the way across the flat Earth to the other side of China, right? And as you can see, the angle is getting lower and lower and lower. And if it kept going, there would be a point where the angle was very, very, very small. But at no point, and this is just making an assumption that the sun's about 1,000 miles up. I don't know an actual distance, but I could do this with any different height of the sun. And from the person viewing the sun, it would always be there.
Okay, and where's the refraction taken here? Where's the compression taken into account here? Where's any optical effects? Because we don't even have
the camera is an optical effect. The camera is optically seeing what the light would show. Obviously, there is no refraction. However, in general, refraction when you're looking up is very limited and wouldn't be a massive amount to take into account. But this is showing that optically, the sun would never disappear.
No, you don't even have convergence in there, so it makes...
Well, no, there is convergence, but the angle isn't getting low enough for it to converge.
But then it's invalid. Show the...
Why is it invalid? This is what a flat Earth would show. If the sun was 1,000 miles up...
I just showed in a spray booth convergence at 7 meters. You trying to show something that doesn't even converge over 1,000 miles.
Well, no, you showed a graph that makes stuff up, and you didn't show convergence. You showed something hiding the sun.
In a paint booth. I showed a demonstration in a paint booth.
Yeah, again, you had the camera below the surface of the Earth. So there was no convergence. What there was the sun being blocked by the surface of the Earth because your camera was below the surface of the Earth. My camera is on the surface of the Earth.
Did you see those lines that I had on the screen?
Which lines?
It said first position, second position, third position.
Yes.
Did it seem to have an apparent drop?
What do you mean an apparent drop? There was different distances on...
That's what convergence is. That is what convergence is. It has an apparent
convergence
drop.
Is apparent drop.
Yes, just like if you look at light bulbs
again,
distance, it appears to drop.
What don't you understand about the fact that in your demonstration you had the camera below the surface of the Earth? So your observation is invalid because that's not. We don't see things from below the surface of the Earth.
You're literally fighting an argument I'm not even talking about. Ignore the paint cans or where my eye is.
I can't because that's what your video was.
No, the argument is, based on reality, things converge to a lower apparent altitude in the distance. You cannot deny this.
There's a lower apparent elevation angle, yeah, right. And that's what's happening. If you look at my screen, right, Flatzoid, if you look at my screen, right, if you look at the bottom right one, okay, you can see how the angle between the camera and the sun is getting smaller, right? It's getting smaller and it's getting smaller. And if that sun, right, hold on, let me finish. If that sun kept going to the right, that angle would get smaller and smaller and smaller. Do we agree?
Again, your orthographic view is not perspective based. That's the whole point. That's why the graph I drew... Yeah, because
there's no way of representing what you're trying to show. I am representing reality. You are representing what you would like reality to be.
No.
I'm representing reality if the Earth was flat. Obviously, the Earth isn't flat.
I did an actual demonstration on a flat surface, validating what I've been showing in my explanation of the graph. You have a computer-generated thing here that does not even bring convergence into what you call perspective.
Of course it does. The things are converging. This sun is, from the point of view, if you watch the one on the left, the top left, okay, it shows that the sun drops in position in the sky,
that's not
right?
reality what you're showing now, Craig. That's not reality what you're showing because it doesn't show perspective.
It is showing perspective from many different angles.
Where's the convergence? Where's the convergence?
Again, the top right, the one showing the sun, right?
That's not
It
convergence.
is. Again, well, let me finish,
No,
and
that's not convergence.
let me explain how it is convergence, or what you say convergence is. Because if you are the person viewing that sun, the sun is getting closer to the ground. Okay, you can't see it in this angle because I've only got a limited amount of the camera that I could show to fit all four in. But if I was to make that camera angle wider, you could see the floor start to rise towards that sun on the top right as it gets further and further away. All right.
The floor starts to rise. So the
Because
floor
it
rises
would
really
appear to
high.
rise as the camera followed the sun. The floor would appear to rise towards the sun as the sun appeared to drop towards the floor because of convergence. That's what that is showing, but you just can't see the floor there because I just wanted to have a camera focused on the sun and there wasn't enough
Great.
space.
So you can see then you can see then if we look over the ocean would converge upwards then, thus occulting the sun in the distance.
It would never cover it. It would never cover it. What happens with perspective is that things go towards a line. You know, what I suppose a lot of flat earthers call the vanishing point. Things above that line go down towards it, and things below that line go up towards it, but they never cross it. If the sun was a constant distance above the Earth, moving directly away from us, it would never drop below the line of vanishing point, or whatever you want to call it. What happens? What would happen is what I'm showing.
Demonstration for that? No, would you provide an actual demonstration for that, where you actually
I'm showing
show
it now. And it's a bloody good demonstration with 4 different cameras.
That's not a demonstration. That's a computer program that you got there using orthographic view and calling it perspective.
There's more than orthographic view here. There's 4 different views.
You do know this program you're using now is showing the orthographic, and it's literally that 3D view you're having there is showing it based on only angle movement, which is only orthographic.
But what about the ones that are directly above, the camera that's directly above, and the camera that's looking directly at the sun, which would be representative of your camera in the thing you showed with the buckets? It's the same thing.
I literally showed actual demonstration where it seems to be dropping downwards.
Yeah, and it is dropping down. What you don't understand is that sun, from the point of view of the person looking at the sun in the top right, that sun would be dropping down, right? That's what would be happening from that point of view. The camera is shifting down with it, so it doesn't really show it. Maybe I should have... Hold on. Let me finish my point. Let me finish my point, please. Right, if I'd kept that camera steady at this point, right? So, if we let it start again. So, if I'd kept that camera steady on the top right... But let me finish. Let me finish. If I'd kept that camera steady on the top right, then that sun would drop down. But I've had the camera follow the sun. Okay? Does that make sense?
I literally got my cursor on the sun when it starts to when it goes in the distance. It does not drop below it.
Shit. Listen to the words that I said, right? Listen to the words that I'm saying, right? If I had Flatzoid, you've strawmanned me, so let me say it again so that you understand, right? If I have kept the camera steady, which I have not, but if I kept the camera steady on that top right one at the initial point, then the sun would have dropped down in its position. But I have made the camera follow the sun instead.
Oh, so you just debunked your own argument. So
no, I haven't. That's my entire point, is that the sun still never goes out of view.
You had to change your camera angle to keep
all I did was follow the sun so that I could show that the sun never goes out of view.
And when you look at a sunset over the ocean, do you change your camera angle to look at it, or do you keep your camera at the same place and watch the sun?
I look directly at the sun.
Okay, and the sun moves away while you keep your... Let's put it this way. You put your camera on the beach on a tripod, and you leave it there.
Yeah, and that's the point. I didn't hear, right? But So what I want you to
No,
do,
no.
I want you to have a thought experiment here, right? And I want you to imagine if the top right there, if the camera stayed still instead of moving with the sun, what the sun would do. All right, can you do that? Get that in your head. Just imagine that the camera is stationary instead of moving with the sun. What would the sun be doing?
Again. Like
Just answer that one question. Just answer that one question. What would the sun be doing if that camera was stationary? Would it be dropping down in view? Yes or no?
Yes.
There we go then. That's the point, right? So it shows that it does do convergence, like you say, because the sun would be dropping down towards the horizon line. But what it also shows is that the sun would never, ever, ever actually go out of view. As you can see, if you look at the bottom right, the camera has a view of the sun the entire time. There is no point where that camera doesn't see that sun.
Did I just end this straight away and say no one's ever claimed 1,000 to be at 1,000? What do you say, kilometers up?
Well, Eric Dubé gave that exact figure, so I was just basing off of that.
I'm not Eric Dubé.
But again, I could do it at any arbitrary distance. It doesn't matter. I could put it at 50 miles. I could put it at 10,000 miles. It doesn't matter.
And secondly, this thing you're showing here is not perspective based. I would like you to actually do an actual demonstration instead of making straw man claims.
There's nothing strawmans about this. This is showing what would happen if the Earth was flat.
What was my argument? Oh yeah.
Your argument was if you were buried under the ground, the sun would disappear, which I agree with.
Listen, what was my original argument? The distances are physical, okay?
Distances are physical, yeah.
The apparent altitude change is apparent, just like my graph showed and my demonstration showed. Now you're trying to move on to something totally different, like an going
again, your demonstration showed
argument, which is not even but that's not what.
But your demonstration showed the camera being under the surface of the Earth, which isn't a representation of reality. So neither your graph or your representation match reality.
The argument is I can demonstrate in reality how things have convergence.
Okay, I've got a challenge for you then. Right? I've got a challenge for you.
While the distance stays physical. So the distance stays physical, the apparent drop showed compression. Hence, my graph was validated with actual demonstration.
No, again, because your demonstration showed the sun under the camera underneath the surface of the Earth. I've got a challenge for you, right? Wait, I've got a Flatzoid. Hold on, I've got a challenge for you, and that's to redo your demonstration with the camera just above the height of the buckets, right? Do that demonstration with the sun staying at the same height and moving it away, and I guarantee you, at no point will that sun be not visible.
You saw my greater thing before, remember?
I saw your what, sorry?
The grater.
Your grater?
Demonstration. Yeah, the cheese grater demonstration.
No.
I called it the graterator. I made it, showed it having apparent drop, and I was level to it. Let's try and do that again.
Right. Okay. So, but I would like you to do that demonstration that you did with the buckets,
I'm
right?
bringing it up now for you. Don't worry. You know, unlike you guys, we actually do actual demonstrations.
Yeah, I've done lots of demonstrations, but you guys just ignore them.
Claims. You guys like to make claims and not actually demonstrate it.
No, I demonstrate stuff all the time, but you guys just ignore it.
Like a thing you just showed that doesn't actually have perspective into it. Okay.
Yeah, because a 3D modeling software doesn't have perspective. Of course not.
Do they take refraction into account?
Again, the amount of refraction looking up at the sun is very, very minimal, so it doesn't really matter.
That's bullshit. I mean, you do know when, especially when it gets lower to the horizon.
When it gets lower to the horizon, yes, but as I showed, if the Earth was flat and the sun was 1,000 miles up, it would never get close to the horizon.
So what happens when something gets closer to the horizon with convergence, and there's a thicker atmosphere with refraction? Would it give the sun the apparent drop it needed?
Well, refraction tends to lift things up.
Yeah, the horizon, because it's closer to you.
At most things at distance, refraction tends to lift it up.
That's just what happens. And because it's got a larger angle closer to you, it lifts the horizon over this the further away.
It lifts everything up. Yeah, not just the horizon. Refraction in general lifts everything up on Earth. That's what we see.
So you just debunked your whole black swan argument as well. Congratulations. Because
no, I.
What?
It explains why you can see the bloody horizon, because refraction lifts it up.
Ah, so but the horizon was still behind it, even though it's getting blocked.
Yeah, exactly. Because it was lifted. Refraction was happening to all of the light coming from the horizon and the rigs, because refraction happens, and we can literally model out the refractive index and show how that would happen with certain variations to the air density.
Okay, I'm going to share my screen again.
10 minutes, and then we'll open it up to other people, guys. And you're welcome, MC Toon. Just before we go on, Flatzoid, I just want to ask you, how do you feel? Oh, you're doing that right now, so I'll ask you when you get back, because you can't hear me. All right, what are we looking at here? Level. What's level? A hole. I just see the word level in a hole. I don't think you know what level means.
So you just saw that. It just dropped below the eye level.
I don't think you know what... eye level isn't the same as the horizon or the vanishing point.
Are you stating that the horizon is not relative to eye level?
No, it's not, because horizon drops the higher you get.
Again, you just spoke about perspective, how the horizon rises relative to eye level, and now you are backpedaling and saying it doesn't.
I'm saying anything in the distance with convergent rises up to it, looks like it rises up to a point, but the actual point of the horizon, if you have something that has a level, right, as you rise in distance, in elevation, sorry, the horizon drops. That's my point. So no matter how far away you are, the horizon will always drop when you raise an elevation.
So what happened with my cheese grater now? I literally showed it being level, that hole that you saw there with the level.
What did you have as a reference for level? Have you got anything
that
shows?
In the beginning there, I literally had.
Did you have like
saw it in the beginning?
Did you have like an app or something that shows if it's vertical or anything, or did you just assume it was?
I literally showed it on screen in the beginning.
I might have missed that bit. But did you have something? Yeah, you had an arrow that says level, but what did you have on the phone to determine that it?
Before that, I literally had it showing it to be level. Must I bring it on screen again where I show it showing its level? Okay, I'm going to bring it up again and show you. Okay, there we go. Let me just share screen for 2 seconds.
Yeah, go ahead. Right, okay, yeah, no, I see what your point is. Yeah. Yeah, and so but then what have you got in reference to that camera that shows that that's like level with the, there's not really a reference to anything. There's no reference that is like your vanishing point in the distance. Things will drop towards the vanishing point in the distance, and your eye level isn't the vanishing point.
So things do not converge relative to your eye level then, Craig?
What are you talking about?
Perspective.
If you were like in that video you showed of the camera and the cheese grater, right? If there was a point in the distance that we chose that was in line with eye level, then you would see that hole would never drop below that point. If you had a tangent between the two. But you had no reference of the two. You just had, here is a camera and something moving away. You didn't, there was no. You need 2 points of reference to say that something's dropping below.
There was a point of reference that.
No, there was only one point of reference. That was the camera.
The camera was, I literally drew on the screen in that hole that you saw there. It was the eye level of the camera right in front of it.
So where was the next reference point to show that that thing wasn't dropping below that level line? Because remember, that level line with your convergence will also drop down, right?
Convergence only goes relative to eye level.
Yeah, right. So the eye level will drop down into the distance, right?
The thing with the cheese grater
is matching what we expect.
People like to say shit shrinks.
Yeah.
And because of its proportionalities, that's why it dropped relative below the eye level of the camera, which you said is impossible.
No, I didn't.
But you just said on your
diagram... I said if you've got a reference point, right, then the things are never going to drop below that. So if you have your camera above the level of those buckets, that sun will never disappear below that level. But if you're starting at the level of the camera and then moving things away, then of course it's going to drop down from that point looking out. But if something starts above the level of the camera, it's never going to disappear below the level of the camera as it goes into the distance.
Great. Okay, so let's do this.
So what you did, right, hold on. So what you did, right, was a complete different, the complete opposite to the first demonstration. In this one, you had the camera and the hole, which would be representing the surface of the Earth, moving away, right? So that shows that it would drop down. But with the other one, you had the camera below the surface of the Earth, which is not what we see in reality, watching the sun move vertically away. So both representations show the different thing in the same way, what we expect, and actually debunks your point.
Okay, let's go look at it this way. Now, when you stand at the beach with your camera on a tripod now, and you're waiting for the sun to go and cause a sunset, it's moving above you, correct? Into the distance.
Yeah, because we're rotating away from it, yeah.
The further it goes away, it's going to drop in apparent altitude.
Well, it doesn't go away because it doesn't get smaller. It just drops in altitude.
It does actually get smaller, even on a heliocentric model. I think it's like 0.001 degrees or something. But anyway, that's caused by
practically nothing.
It's so far away. Which,
on a flat Earth, it would be a lot more.
No, that's just a straw man.
It's not. It would be a lot more.
I can take two planes at different altitudes flying on top of each other. The one at the bottom will get smaller in altitude before the other one because of parallax. Distance makes a difference because of the percentage difference in distance.
Yeah, you can't deny that if something gets further away, it appears to get smaller. That has been your point the entire time, and that does not happen with the sun the way you would expect it to do with a local sun. It simply doesn't happen.
It's the same as a mountain that's 100 kilometers away compared to a mountain that's 20 kilometers away. If you drive away, the one
looks smaller, but that doesn't happen with the sun. As it gets further away, it doesn't look smaller.
Listen, it changes in less angular size change compared to the one that's 50 kilometers away because of parallax.
There's one thing with the sun. There's no parallax involved.
The sun is moving the whole time. So the vantage point changes constantly. That's parallax.
Wait, you think parallax would stop an angular size change of the sun? No. Something that is local, right, Flatzoid, I don't know why you're trying to deny this fact. Something that is local, like the sun would be on a flat Earth, moving away from us would have a significant drop in angular size. That does not happen in reality.
Okay, prove it. Take something, let's say, like you're 1,000 kilometers away, something, and
I'll prove it right now. I will prove it to you right now with my screen.
Is that 1,000 kilometers away, Craig?
I am saying that as things move away, they will reduce in angular size. And if the sun is local, right? Again, if we're going to take an average flat Earth thing of, say, 3,000 miles, which was the first claim I heard from actually Nathan Oakley and co. So if you do the calculations of a sun being 3,000 miles up, the angular size change will be 3.7 times throughout the day. And it does not happen.
And I don't claim 3,000 miles, but you making a claim.
Well, could you give me an estimate of how high the sun is then, so that I don't strawman you?
So I would like you to go and do an actual demonstration of something 3,000 miles away changing in angular size.
Right. How high up is the sun for you, Flatzoid? How high up is the sun for you?
I don't know. Can't validate that. I've never made a claim how high it is.
Right. So all your arguments are kind of mute then. Brilliant.
But no.
But things that move away change in angular size. Right. So if you don't have a figure, right, I will use a figure of 3,000 miles, which is an average claim that flat earthers make. And if that is the case, it is a 3.7 times change of angular size.
Can you stop talking of me? That globe thing you just had in front of your face would have a totally
the globe
different
thing.
impact
You mean the globe?
Yeah, it's a toy. Anyway,
It's not a toy.
If that same thing was 100 kilometers away, would you have the same angular size change when it moves in the distance?
You would have a angular size change.
Would it have the same one?
No, it would be less, obviously, because it's further away.
Less.
Right?
So
but
if
again,
the
what
sun
you would
was
expect
less
of the sun is at least a 3.7 times angular size change. Because as things get further away, they change in size. But that isn't what happens in reality.
Okay,
Same with the moon.
and,
Here's the moon. If the Earth was
great,
flat,
so
it would be like,
why are you trying to move stuff and strawmans that I've never made, Craig?
well, I'm just flat Earth in general. You don't give a figure, so I'm having to make one for you.
No, you're literally making what you believe flat Earth to be, so you are...
Well, no, I don't have any
strawman.
beliefs of flat Earth because I don't think a flat Earth exists. But what I'm not strawmanning because I have been told that by flat Earthers.
You
Not
know what a
specifically
strawman
you.
is?
No, yeah, a straw man
is
if when I'm not having an argument that's in my opponents. However, I have been told by flat earthers that is the case. So I am not straw manning flat Earth because flat Earth has no definitive figures to be able to straw man.
We can test this out. Take a mountain that's 100 kilometers away. Take it.
I don't have one handy. Sorry.
Now drive 100 kilometers away further. Now you are 200 kilometers away from that mountain.
So do the maths. Alpha equals 2 times the arc tan of G over 2r. You can use that to figure out how big the it would appear to be based on how far away you are.
Great. Was that percentage as great as a mountain that was now 20 kilometers away from you and you drove that 100 kilometers away?
Do the maths and tell me.
No, it's a simple question. Now, you had the mountain 20 kilometers away.
Yeah, obviously there is going to be a smaller change in angular size if something is further and further away. But there would be a change in angular size. There would be, but there isn't when we look at the sun in reality.
The sun is what? Far away, Craig.
Yeah, 93 million miles far away. Correct.
What? So the percentage of change would be what?
93 million miles away, it would be really, really tiny, like 0.00001%. But if it was local, anything within, say, 100,000 miles, it would be significantly larger and able to be observed with the naked eye, which is not.
I love how you make claims without being able to back it up.
Well, mathematically, if it was within 100,000 miles, there would be an observable change that you would be able to see. If it was 100,000 miles away, it would be something like a 0.8% change throughout the day, which would be something you could notice.
Great. So, and that's taking atmospheric effects into account?
Again, if you're looking up at the sun, you don't really see many atmospheric effects.
That's bullshit.
Unless it's at the horizon, and that's why it gets squished and stuff when it gets to the horizon. But throughout the day, as you're watching it rise and go over you, and you can take pictures of it throughout the whole day, the angular size change is what you would expect with a sun about 93 million miles away. So unless on the flat Earth, the sun is also 93 million miles away, there's nothing on the flat Earth that would match what we see in reality.
You understand how angle of incidence works?
Angle of incidence in refraction, yes, I do. A change in density or temperature changes the refractive index.
And does that magnify an apparent size or something?
Does that magnify an apparent size? No, an angle of incidence doesn't magnify an apparent size of something.
Oh, is that so? Then why, when you take a cup of water and stick a straw in it or a pencil, that pencil looks fat?
That's a result of the curved surface of the glass, not an angle of incidence change of refraction. The angle of incidence change shows you that the pencil goes from looking straight to looking crooked, usually like that. That's the angle of incidence. The reason why the pencil looks fatter is because of the curve of the glass that you're looking at through.
Great. So the sun can have that apparent change to keep it looking.
So we're
about
looking
the same.
through a curved, like,
Remember,
cylinder.
When you observe the sun,
So,
when you
right, so
observe
we're
the
outside a
sun-
curved cylinder of liquid that the sun is in. Is that right?
Sorry. You just literally said you can have, in the beginning, your hand is refracted through the atmosphere. Now the sun cannot be refracted through the atmosphere.
I never said the sun wasn't refracted. I said the
You're just
refraction is
fighting-
minimal.
You're fighting against the refraction now.
No, I'm not. Nice straw man.
You are. You just
No, I just,
literally said-
how is explaining to you how refraction works fighting against it?
So the sun does have angle of incidence due to refraction, correct?
Yeah, but a tiny, tiny, tiny amount until it reaches the horizon.
So that will change its apparent size as well.
No, it would
correct?
not change its apparent size because angle of incidence change doesn't change the apparent size of something. It changes the apparent position.
And that pencil you just had in a glass of water, it changed its apparent size as well. So now it's
sorry, Flerf reset just happened there. I explained to you why. That's because you're looking through a curved surface of the glass. Like this glass here, right? If I had a pencil in it and it was changing, the pencil would look bigger because of the curved surface of the glass and the shape of the liquid inside of it because of the curved surface of the glass. But the sun.
And your camera's lens,
sorry.
And your camera's lens that you're looking at the sun, is it curved?
Okay, I've still got a lens here, but the sun is not within a cylinder of fluid to make it change in size. It is not the angle of incidence change that changes the apparent size of something. That only changes the apparent position. You have made up something there.
Does your glasses magnify things?
No, my glasses do not
Based on
magnify things.
angle?
My glasses change the apparent position of the thing so I can see.
So they don't magnify. So if you take your glasses off now and stick it to a page with words on it, is it not going to magnify those words?
Do you see any magnification?
Yes, I do.
Really? Right. Me there with no glasses in front of it, and there's my glasses. Where's the magnification?
It literally has it, Craig.
Right. Look at my head and map out where it is. And now, where is the magnification for my glasses? There's no magnification. It becomes a little bit more blurred.
Yeah,
I'll do it this way so it's showing through what I would see. There's without it, and there's with it. There is no magnification. It just makes it so that I can see by refracting the light a little. It doesn't change the size of things. A magnifying glass does that because of the shape of the lens.
You're just going totally against what refraction is, but great, congratulations.
No, refraction is a
Because
change of incidence which changes the apparent position, not the size.
You claim that we see the pencil growing in angular size due to the curvature of the glass. So now your glasses don't do the same thing to you. So in other words, you're contradicting yourself.
No. Again, my glasses aren't changing the size of things. They aren't. I don't wear my glasses so that things look bigger. I wear them so that things look clearer. You realise that looking clearer and looking bigger are different things, right? Please tell me you understand that.
No, go ahead.
You do understand that looking clearer and bigger are
lenses.
different things, right?
Corrective lenses will cause objects and print to appear slightly larger than life. The opposite occurs with glasses near-sightedness. Do you have nearsighted glasses?
I'm long-sighted. Well, sorry, I am nearsighted.
Okay,
Which am I? Sorry.
They make images appear
again,
slightly smaller.
Am I bigger?
So are you nearsighted or?
Again, the glasses, right, are actually slightly curved, right? So if I show the bottom of the glasses there's more of a distortion, right, than right in the middle. More of a distortion right at the edge as I turn it than the middle. All right, but looking right through the center, it doesn't change how big things are, because otherwise everything would be bigger to me. Things are clearer.
When something changes the angle of incidence of light, does it change the relative size of something?
No. The angle of incidence is just where the position is changed.
So the light's position does not change how you see something?
It doesn't make things look bigger or smaller. It makes them look that changes their apparent position.
Which causes it to look apparently bigger or smaller. Because
No,
it has
raising up
changed
or
its-
down doesn't make it look bigger or smaller.
So when you guys have this large refraction that you guys love to talk about,
Yeah, refraction
And
changes
you-
the position, not the
it
size.
magnifies a certain aspect of it. Does that
No,
not happen?
again,
No.
it's not magnification, it's refraction. They're different things.
Glasses refract. Refraction causes magnification, does it not?
You can use refraction to make magnification a thing if you're changing, everything about the path of the light, but refraction, the angle of incidence changes the apparent position, not the apparent size. You have to have a change in the size of the lens, the thickness of the lens and everything to be able to change the apparent size of things. An incidence change because of the medium isn't something that causes a changing size. For instance, the glass inside of a magnifying glass doesn't have different densities throughout. That glass is the same density throughout, but the shape of the magnifying glass is what is causing the magnification. There's only one incidence change because the glass's density is uniform throughout.
Great. So glasses are not curved now.
Well, yeah, they are slightly curved so that they can adjust everything to make it properly. But again, refraction,
And camera
that's
lenses?
because of the shape of the lens, not because of the angle of incidence change. The angle of incidence change is the thing that's making me allowed to be able to see things clearer. It's the shape of a lens that would magnify something. But that's
Right.
not refraction,
So you're
that's the
just
shape
trying to-
of the lens. Because refraction, as we
okay.
know, is an incidence change, right? It is when there's a change in density or temperature, right? That's what refraction is, yeah? You agree?
Through a medium. Two
Yeah,
mediums.
so do you agree that when there is, right, I just want a yes or a no here, do you agree that refraction is an angle of incidence change, right? So going from one density to another, yeah?
Through a barrier medium, yeah.
Yeah, right? So, a magnifying glass, does the density of that glass change throughout the glass? Throughout the lens on the magnifying glass, is it one density or is it multiple densities?
The same density. It's just,
Right, okay, so how many angle of incidence changes has there been for the light going into that magnifying glass?
It's the angle that changes from every angle it goes. That's what an incident angle is.
Yeah, so how many is
when
there? How many is there when it goes to the magnifying glass? Because the magnifying glass is one density, okay? So it's going from one density, the air, if we assume the air is a constant because it's, very little change, right? So it's going through one density, the air, to another density within the magnifying glass. How many changes of incidence has there been?
One.
One.
Compared to one angle. One angle.
So one
But there's more than
one incident, one angle incidence change, okay? Not multiple.
to one.
One angle
Yeah.
incidence change,
No,
right?
listen, it depends. Remember, there's different angles coming all at the same time to that same magnifying glass.
Yes.
That's why it concentrates.
But the light
all those
still,
angles.
all of the light
Every
coming in
single
only has
light.
one angle of incidence change, right?
That's why it changes all those different angle of incidences. to
Yeah, so
one point.
each point of light, so
It's
every
right.
single photon of light go into that magnifying glass, how many angle of incidence changes is there? One.
Many.
No, one.
No.
For each single photon, there is one.
Listen.
Unless we get into quantum
Just like-
mechanics, but that's a bit different.
Okay, but just like your camera that's looking at the sun.
No, don't
That
change the sun.
lens-
We're talking about magnifying glass. All right, don't.
This is-
I want
that's
to
the
stick
whole
specifically
time.
to a magnifying glass
This is the
and
whole-
what is happening
No, you've been
in that
con-
magnifying glass. All right, because this is the important point. There is
And
right. Well, I'm
and the
wrong.
camera
I'm wrong.
lens
There's more than
is
one.
magnifying.
Right. Hold on. I'm wrong because there's more than one. There's two. There's one as it enters and there's one as it exits. There's two angle incidence changes. That's it. The reason the magnifying glass magnifies things is because of the shape of the lens, not because of the refractive conditions changing.
Listen, What is the original argument here? We go to where it changes the angular size due to refraction of the lens.
And as I've just shown, that refraction isn't the thing that changes it; it's the shape of the lens. Now, why don't we open this up to the panel? Because you had someone that wanted to ask me something, right?
Last thing, what is the shape of the lens of your camera?
Which one?
The one you usually look at the sun with.
Well, I've got a few different lenses that go on it. Some are convex, some are concave.
Great.
Depends what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, and do they all give different?
Yeah, and lenses magnify stuff. We can zoom in and things with them. But again, that's not refraction.
Thank you for making my point after listening to you blabber on.
But again, that's not refraction. That's not an angle of incidence change. That's zooming in. They're different things. Right, anyway, let's open up. Toon is going to love me for what I've just done. You're welcome, MC Toon. Before we open up the panel, I did want to ask you, Flatzoid, how do you feel about having your official nomination in for Top Left Award 2023?
I think it doesn't really bother me because it's immature and childish.
Oh, come on, it's fun. It's just funny. Are you going to come and accept your award if you win? I don't want you to win. I want Witsit to win. Toon's pushing hard for you. But if you do win, will you come and accept your award?
Yes, I will. Okay.
Because the winner, we're actually getting a T-shirt printed with the Top Left Award on, right? And if the winner wants it, we will send it to them to accept it, right? But here's the thing, right? When you read the rules about this, it makes it very, very specific that this is a joke. The whole thing is a joke. Okay. Yes, we're pointing fun at Flat Earthers because that's what we do. But we hope that even the Flat Earthers involved realize that this whole thing is a joke. Right?
No, it's just, I know. That's what I said. It's just immature, but it's fine.
Hey, what's wrong with being immature? Who wants to fucking grow up, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, right. You had someone that wanted to ask me something?
I didn't see anybody really wanting to ask anything. Do you guys want to ask Craig something? Do you send your super chats? I'm sure Craig's going to do the same now.
Well, I'm going to open up the panel. I'm going to invite people in, so you can do the same. Just put the Zoom link in your chat, and people can come in and ask us questions. Yeah.
Okay. I've got to find it. Where do I? I'll just give the one you sent me on.
Yeah, it works.
I'll just send that.
So, people in my chat, if you would like to come in and ask Flatzoid or any of Flatzoid's crew some questions, please come in. I'll bring you in one at a time. You'll go into a waiting room when you join. And if you've got a question for Flatzoid or for others, then please come in. I know that these things can get heated, but please try and stay respectful. To a point. A bit of banter is fine. Flatzoid knows I think he's an idiot, and I know he thinks I'm an idiot. That's all cool, right? But
at least we know.
Yeah. If you're coming in, have fun, but try and keep it respectful, and stuff as much as possible, and we should have some fun. But I thought when I came in, you said you had someone that wanted to ask me a question about Earth's rotation.
Oh yeah, Michael, but he left already though.
Oh,
he said he couldn't take it anymore.
He can come back.
I think he went to sleep.
Oh, he went to sleep. Oh,
but
dear.
Yeah, guys, I did put the link in the chat if you guys want to pop in and come and talk. Feel free.
Oh, we've got quite a few people joining already. We're bringing them in one at a time. Right. Eric.
Yes, dude, this is the... Why is it giving me the Discord link there? I'm trying to give the...
All right, what I'll do is I'll go over to your chat and I'll pop the link there.
Oh, there we go. Okay. No, it's giving me the Discord one. Oh no, there we go. I think that's working now. There, guys, that should work. You don't need Discord. You can just go straight to Zoom, mate.
Yeah.
That is the link for Zoom. Yeah.
Okay, so we had someone join. Who was that?
Eric.
Yes. Eric, hello. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah. Hello, Eric. Yeah. Welcome.
Hey. So I have a question for Flatzoid. So this is actually dealing with the stars, and that was a while ago. You guys were talking about Polaris, but in history, ancient Greece was actually able to see the Southern Cross, but now it can't anymore. and that's due to the Earth's precession. But the flat Earth model doesn't explain that at all. Do you have any explanation for that?
Yeah, can you validate that was even the truth?
Yeah, because there's a lot of historical evidence, and they actually have, like, I don't have it on my screen right now, but there is stuff from Greece where they have recorded the Southern Cross.
Yeah, he is right. He's not just making up.
People from Greece even recorded demigods and things happening, so I wouldn't really take it as...
He's talking about like sailors and stuff. Sailors in ancient Greece, noted that they could see Polaris from their position. It was right on the horizon, but they noted that they could see it, and there is reports of being able to see that from times of ancient Greece. Obviously, it's very hard to validate anything from ancient Greece, right? So let's, for the purposes of the conversation, make the assumption that there are those reports and they're correct. What would the explanation be on the flat Earth?
It's a lie.
Okay, I just said to make the assumption that it's correct, right? Just for the purposes of the conversation.
Okay. What do the assumption was probably hectic refraction, as you guys like to say.
All right. Well, another thing for precession is that it is a long cycle for it, and from precession in the past, the star Vega used to be the pole star, and it will be again eventually. So does
every
the
1,000 years
flat
or
Earth.
something, correct?
It's 26,000 year period.
26,000 years.
Yeah.
So how did anybody? So how did anybody record this in history?
Well, in history, I mean, I don't know exactly if there's even history going back to where Vega was the pole star, but I mean, you can do calculations of
based on how far it's moved in
now.
recent history. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's reports from 800 AD of the North Celestial Point being devoid of stars, which would indicate that 1,200, 1,300, 1,400 years ago, that Polaris wasn't the North Star at that point. In fact, there was no North Star.
Yeah, and it was, I think, 14,000 years ago was Vega.
Yeah.
Something like that.
And nobody can validate this because no one was around.
Well, back then, no, but we can tell that precession is going on through observation still. It's very little that we can see at the moment because it is a 26,000 year period. But there is a calculation you can do for the precession cycle, how long it is. That's how we know it's 26,000 years. And
but you see, sorry, I'm just saying, but you see, that's based on your belief and using circular reasoning, begging the question of your model that it has that. It's not based on actual observation. It's based on calculations because of your model belief.
But I mean, it's based on. But you can base precession off of, like I gave the example of the Southern Cross, and that is actual, like factual. I mean, I don't have it in front of me, but there is reports. I mean, that I think it could even be seen from parts of North America as well, not like the U.S., but I think parts of Mexico could see it as well in the past. And sorry if you guys can hear my cat meowing. It's almost time for dinner for her.
No stress. Well, it's nice talking to you, Eric.
Yeah.
I want to look more into that. So yeah, thanks. I have heard of the argument before, but I haven't really looked into it that much. But I think I'll look more into it.
Yeah, definitely look into Greece with the Southern Cross. All right, see you.
Cool,
right,
thanks,
thank you. Right. Now, so that was someone on my side. Flatzoid, do you see anyone in the waiting room that's on your side?
Oh, I don't even look. Where's the waiting room here?
If you go into Zoom and click on participants, it'll show you who's in the waiting room.
Oh, there we go. Okay. No, it's just showing me and you.
Is
my link even working, guys? Anybody want to come
I see a bunch of people from my side in.
Yeah, you can send another one in while we're waiting. Guys, click the link if you want to ask Craig something.
I'm going to go into your chat and I'm going to pop the Zoom link in there so people can see as well. I've got quite a few people from my side waiting, so I'm going to bring Brenda in just one sec.
Okay.
All right, guys, there's the Zoom link on Flatzoid choice. Okay, right.
Thank you, thank you.
Brenda. Brenda's always fun.
Yeah. I don't see her in yet. There she goes.
Right. Yeah, just joining. Hey, Brenda, how you doing?
Hello, Brenda.
Brenda.
Yes,
There we
I'm
go.
here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, how you doing?
I'm doing great. I would like to ask Flatzoid a question, if I could, please.
Please go ahead.
Yeah, Flatzoid, you mentioned something about parallax, and I don't understand what you mean by parallax. And could you help me out here and explain what parallax is to me?
It's just got to do with your vantage point changes your incident angle, and that changes the parallax. Like when you look up at a, how can I put it? I'm trying to see if I can get a good image enough for it. Let's take a glass of water, for instance. You know that people love to take the bottle of water to show it level kind of thing. If you look at it head on, you see it at an angle of incidence. Now, when you look at it from the bottom, it changes that angle of incidence to the horizon line of that. And from the top, it also changes. That's parallax.
That's parallax. Changing the angle?
Because you're changing your vantage points, yeah. You have to have more than one vantage point.
So if I look at, so let me get this straight. So if I have a glass of water on the table and I put my eye level with the top of the water, is that parallax?
Only once you've changed your to a new vantage point.
Oh, so then if I raise my head up and then I can see down at the surface of the glass of the water in the glass, then the difference there, that's parallax, a different angle of incidence? That's parallax.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. So I understand what you mean by parallax now.
That's not what I thought it was,
just
to be
like
honest.
Just like when the sun moves away, it's moving constantly, so you're having a new observation angle. So it's parallax.
Right. And for you, that means parallax.
Not for me, that's what parallax is.
Oh, okay.
Just like even when you take, let's say, Rhetoric and Astronomy Live, when they tried to measure with the ISS, they went, I think, like 700 meters apart from each other.
A mile.
They had different vantage points. So that's parallax.
And you're very confident in that, aren't you?
Yes.
Very. Very good. Can I ask you a question? Would you please unblock me? You blocked me, and I don't know why.
Because you lied. Live on stream, and I warned you, and you still
did
did.
not. Number one.
Well, now you're lying again because we have it live on stream.
I didn't hear you, right? You may have heard from your end, but on my end, I didn't hear you, and I don't believe I lied. You might believe I lied, but I don't think I lied.
Okay, then I'm going to tell you this. Go back on that stream that you're on and watch it over.
Okay, maybe I'll publish a video showing what I think happened.
Great.
Great.
I don't know what this is about. Sounds interesting.
It seems trivial, kind of. It's a personal thing, but I think
like
parallax. I think the parallax was much more interesting.
Yeah. So
yes.
This when we say parallax, this is what I mean, right? So I hold my vape and this lighter in line with each other, okay? Right? I move them far away, but as I move this way, even though I'm keeping them in line, it looks like the lighter is moving faster than the vape pen, right? But I'm actually keeping them directly in line.
Congratulations, yeah.
So the parallax is the difference in the two, and that isn't what you said.
Vantage point changing. Yeah. That's what parallax is, mate. Thank you.
But that's not
is
what
the vantage
you said
point
parallax
changing?
is. You said parallax was just looking at the sun moving away. What's your other reference to the sun? Because like I was showing, there's two things, right? So you've got the vape and the lighter. So for you, you've got the sun, and what else? What are you comparing it to for the parallax?
When you see a sunset, you have the ocean, don't you? Or a mountain, or grass,
so
or whatever. You don't just have the sun in your field of view. You have many things in your field of view.
That's not what parallax is.
Craig, I get worried about your health.
Yeah, me too.
I get worried. Take it easy.
Oh, I have someone on the panel apparently, guys.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
No, I don't.
Okay.
No, I don't.
Thank you, Flatzoid.
Thank you, Brenda.
Yeah, thank you very
Appreciate
much.
that.
Thank you, Craig.
Someone's saying I do have them on the panel, but I don't see anybody here.
What's their name?
I know, I'm just going to copy the all again. Maybe it's just not working. Let's try. I'm going to copy it direct from here. Guys, if you guys let me on the panel. JP says he wants to come on. There's the link again, Mr. JP.
JP, yeah, JP's in the waiting room. I'll let him in now.
Oh, is he there? Okay.
Yeah. He's just joining, just waiting for his audio to connect. JP, you need to select your mic. There we go. There's JP. Hey, JP. I remember you. You were on Bro Sanchez's the other day.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, JP. How you doing?
Yes, JP. How you doing? I'm doing good, man. Hey, good to be on the panel. Flatzoid, this is the first time I heard of you, man, and it was telling me about the debate, and I went to go see your brother. Hey, oh yeah, hey, I'm rocking with you, my man. Good shit.
Shot, mate.
Hey, good shit all the way around, big boss. But yeah, I want to get you in contact with Bro Sanchez, man. It's flat Earth all 2023.
Awesome, yeah, for sure. Awesome, yeah, for sure.
Hell yeah. But one last time, I wanted Craig to confirm what he was saying about the lenses. So at the very end, you undoubtedly said the lenses do magnify, but you were saying that your glasses didn't magnify when they were trying to make the point. All throughout the debate, I just want you to know, when you rerun this back, you're going to see how many times you contradicted yourself with what you said. Flatzoid, I like the way you was coming at him with the questions, my man. One of my biggest proofs again was like the black swan at 1 foot. Then they tried to put the refraction on it. Then you go all the way out to Mount Canagoo, 156 miles out, and can still see these things in the long range photography, dude. It's really.
I think you missed the point of the lenses. A lot of echo with you in there. The lens, the magnification isn't the refraction, that's the shape of the lens. But my lenses, the reason I wear these isn't to magnify things, it's so that I can see things. Because of the shape of the lens, at the top or the bottom, there's a little bit of magnification. But when you're looking straight at it like normal, things aren't bigger for me than they are for other people. I'm still seeing the world the same size.
When you rewind this back again, you're gonna see you just contradict yourself yet again. You just said earlier you said they didn't.
Again, I've said if you like I was pointing out, you look at my head now, and then you look at the S. There's no magnification. There's no change in size, right? But if you bring the lens down to the, if I twist it so you can see like the edges, but the bit that I look through, the main bit, there's no magnification. Things aren't bigger for me when I put my glasses on. Because refraction doesn't cause magnification. They're different things, and that was the point of the argument.
Got you.
Yeah. So, hey, why did Bro Sanchez boot me off after calling me a liar, by the way?
Fight the flat earth, man. You keep having these debates, you're going to become a flat earther.
Dude, I'm 800 in. Oh, no, sorry, 700 in, so I don't think so. Because I debunk every flat earth argument ever. I mean, I've destroyed Brother Sanchez so hard, he's blocked me now.
Brother, I remember you was in a debate talking about your cardiovascular system and your digestive system.
Yeah, I know, hilarious. And someone said that they are connected when, they're not connected systems, they're interacting systems.
And you were trying to defend the fact that astronauts could literally survive in space and all this.
Yeah, there's no reason why they wouldn't be able to survive in zero G, absolutely.
And their digestive system is literally shut down, is what you were saying.
No, I never said that at all.
Brother, I ain't gonna lie. I don't really know too much about you, but I've seen
about
the last
anything,
couple
apparently.
of your debates. You're laughable at best. I'm sorry to tell you. Man.
That's because you're too thick to understand things. That's not my fault.
Okay, well, you know what? I won't go with jabs. I'm sorry for that. Yeah, I really am. So I'm gonna go with intellectual things.
Well,
so
hey, can you tell me why Brother Sanchez called me a liar and then blocked me?
Because I believe that I'll tell you exactly. So there was some guys coming on explaining about the air pressure or whatnot and going to the south. Yeah. These arguments I don't really care about, but that's what the context was. And then there was a professor or something like that came in and actually corrected the globe earthers But
No.
you were trying to say that the globe earthers weren't corrected by the professor.
Yeah, so none of the globe earthers in that stream said anything opposite to the professor. The professor said if they did say that, then they were wrong. So I've gone back through that stream and I've clicked every time that they were talking about it, and they all said, including me, the same thing as the professor. I've got those clips
your
as
question,
proof.
Hey, your question.
So
your question
Brother
to me
Sanchez
is
called me a liar, and wait, hold on. Brother Sanchez called me a liar and then wouldn't let me respond and then booted me for wanting to respond. Why is he so emotionally immature?
You know what? I'm gonna be very honest with you. Well, after that debate, I did tell Brother Sanchez that I wish he would have let you stay on. But you know, he I can't tell you what.
Because if you watch that debate, right, you'll see that I was nothing but respectful, right?
Talk too much and don't let people respond. Shut up. I'm sorry. Like, you make it hard not to be respectful. Like, I'm trying to.
I'm sorry. Carry on. I'm sorry. Carry on.
Goodness gracious. You asked me why he kicked you off, and I was telling you the exact reason. In his mind, at that exact time when the professor said that he was correcting the other guys, and you were trying to defend that he wasn't saying that, that's why he kicked you off. Whether that happened or not, I didn't go back and view that exact part, so maybe you're right. But that's the exact reason he kicked you off.
Do you think it's fair that I didn't get a chance to defend myself?
But I mean, like I said, that's not defending the globe or the flat earth. So, and I know there's people on the college that actually want to do that. So I'll get to that. One of the biggest things that got me on flat earth, right, was the simple fact that globe earth, they hold themselves to the fact that they have made a circumference of 24,000 miles. With a diameter of, a radius of 3959. When flat earthers constantly kill the spherical geometry of that and what you are supposed to see, if indeed we are on a ball and these things are over the curve of the earth, the best thing that y'all have to say is, indeed, you're not supposed to see this on a globe. Indeed, you're not. But there's a such thing as refraction, which basically brings it back up exactly to the horizon. And that happens no matter if you're at 1 foot, it does it there. It does it at 3 foot, 8 foot, all the way out to 200 foot. And guess what they say in science? We could actually refract things indefinitely.
Yeah, refraction's a thing. If the refractive index was correct, then it would, if you could have a certain refractive index,
that's what got me on flat earth. And until y'all can come up with a better reason than that, I promise you.
Why would I need a better reason than the actual explanation? It's not my fault that you don't accept the explanation because you don't understand it, but that is the explanation. That is the reason.
So basically what you're saying is that Earth could prospectively or visually look as a flat Earth because refraction will let this thing refract literally.
Yeah, if the refractive index was correct, then it would.
Listen to me. Stop cutting me off.
I'm responding to you.
However far that you say that you can see, it's not because you actually see that. It's because it's being refracted to you.
Yeah. So here's the thing, right? You don't see things. You see the light that has bounced off of things. All right? Do you understand that?
So if somebody flew...
Wait. Just stick with that one question. Do you understand the concept that you don't see things? You see the light that has bounced off of something and then come towards your eyes. Do you understand that concept?
Yeah, of the thing, yes.
Yeah. So, you hold your hand out in front of you, right? You aren't literally seeing your hand. You are seeing the light that has bounced off of your hand and come to your eyes. And then it's gone in your eyes and it's...
No, you're seeing your hand. You're seeing your hand.
No, you're seeing the light coming off of your hands because you don't see things.
Correct.
You see light, right?
I don't deny that light comes off your hands. But
right, so what you are seeing is the light that has reflected off of your hand and come into your eyes. That's how you see your hand. Because light from a source has bounced off of your hand and then gone into your eyes. That's why if you go into a dark room with no light, you can't see your hand. Doesn't mean your hand isn't there, just because there's no light to bounce off your hand. So that's what seeing is. Seeing is the light that has bounced off of something coming into your eyes. Now, the light, if that light has gone through a medium that changes the angle of incidence enough, then it's going to change the apparent position of something. It doesn't mean that that thing has actually changed its position, just because the light that has bounced off of that thing has to travel through a medium that has changed what the light is doing, and then come into your eyes. That's what seeing is, and that's what refraction is. The light that has bounced off of the horizon, the boats near the horizon, oil rigs, that light has to travel through a medium to come to your eyes, and that medium, naturally on Earth, has varying densities and temperature. So we see the light that has travelled, and it's travelled through something that is changing what the light is doing. It's as simple as that.
But answer if my example of this is correct. So with that exact same thing, what you're seeing, it's not there. So if someone had a helicopter and went to that exact place what your eyes were seeing, nope, that's not where it would be. Nope, it wouldn't be there physically. Nope.
I mean, it might be a very
they would have to go over the curve of the Earth.
Yeah. So if something's that far away, it is technically behind the curve of the Earth, you would have to travel around the curve of the Earth to go and see that thing, right? But it's like if you're looking at your hand, even though that's practically where your hand is, the light has had to be slightly refracted because of the varying density in the air between your hand and your eye. And then your eyes have got a liquid which also refracts the light before it hits the sensors at the back of your eye to be converted into a signal. So every time you're looking at something, there's some kind of refraction happening, all right? Now, the thing about our senses is they give us the best ability to do things, but we don't have the ability to detect 100% exactly where things are at every distance. We just don't have that ability.
Hey, man, fight the flat earth. I'm not a debater. I never would, I don't consider myself to be well versed in like these type of matters. But when a person like you and the other people that I see in your scientific community come and try to explain these things, it just lets me know how fabricated and how much of a religion type shit that you guys are on.
That's you having an ignorance problem.
And you know what? And I do apologize because you're right. I'm taking jabs at you, and I don't want that to be this. I don't want that on Flatzoid's channel. So I do apologize about that, man.
Yeah, and Gary Webenenger's right in the chat. Yeah, you don't actually touch anything either. I'm not touching my fingers together. My electrons are repulsing each other. It's just how the universe works.
You're touching your fingers together.
Well, no, the electrons that are in the atoms of my fingers are repulsing each other. My fingers aren't actually touching each other. You never touch anything. It's just it's a weird way the world works.
I'm out of here right after this, Flatzoid. I'm out of here right after this. I just really wanted to come on here and say, man, salute. I really appreciate the debate you had, man. I was following you the whole way. You made this brother drown in his own little science. Yeah, man. Y'all have a good one.
Cheers, JP. Support, man. Hilarious.
On that, not touching each other's hand, I remember learning about that theory in school.
Oh, it's not really a theory. We know that electrons have a charge and they can repulse each other.
Yeah, but you still literally touch yourself. You can.
Well, not really. The electrons at the end of your fingers repulse each other. That's what you're feeling. There's no physical connection.
Can you take a knife and cut your hand?
Yeah, so the electrons on the end of the knife are repulsing against the electrons in my skin and forcing it apart. The knife's not actually touching the skin.
You do know they can show things over a microscope how it does actually touch?
And if they showed it even closer at the atomic level, it would show how what's happening is that the electrons between the two materials are simply repulsing each other. Because that's what touching is. Because here's the thing, atoms are mostly empty space. So if I was to literally touch, it would just go through, because most of it is empty space. What actually happens, the physical resistance that you feel, is the electrons in either material repulsing each other. A knife, the tip of the knife, that's very, very sharp, that's got electrons in, as it's going through whatever it's cutting, it's pushing the electrons of that thing that it's cutting away. The sharper the knife is, the more it can be accurate. But it's still electrons repulsing electrons, not physical. I mean, for all intents and purposes, it is touching, right? But we're talking about what's happening at like the atomic level.
The sharper the knife, the more the pressure, correct?
Yeah, because there's less electrons to go on an area to push them apart.
So it's not the electrons cutting you, then it's...
I just said it's the electrons.
The knife. Thank you.
Yeah. But again,
Anyway,
the reason
back
why the
to
knife goes
answer
through.
the
Yeah. Anyway, so next person who was in, let me see, Glenn Williamson. Let's bring in whoever that is. I think there's someone from my side. Remember to keep posting the link in your chat so people can come in.
Guys,
Hey Glenn, how you doing?
You there, Flatzoid?
Oh, yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
Ruhif, of course that's it. How you doing, buddy?
Of course it is, yeah. Lovely, lovely. I have two very quick questions for Flatzoid.
Please go ahead, my
Number
friend.
one, so your Polaris angle diagram where you step away 10 degrees at a time and 600 nautical miles, would that scale down to something on Earth? Yeah, that one, yep. Would that scale down to something on Earth like a tower or a building or whatever, something tall?
I don't understand what you mean. What would it scale down? Of course it would scale. There's actual measurements on there. I mean, you would agree
Yeah,
at
but
600 nautical miles, it drops 10 degrees.
Right.
In
So
reality.
let's say we had some tower and we stepped away 600 meters and it was 80 degrees, and then it was 1,200 meters, 70 degrees. Are you saying that would work? That's what we would measure in reality?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Good. So next question, number two, can we model that with geometry and then show that geometry matches reality? Can you and I do that on stream? Not this stream, but can we?
It depends how you want to model it, because your geometry is usually based in 2 dimensions. Perspective is based in 3 dimensions. How are you going to model
You've got a relationship. You've got a relationship here between the angle and the distance, and you said that it does scale down. Are you willing to do that in reality to like a tower or something like that to show that relationship?
But again, that geometry is 2-dimensional. Perspective is 3-dimensional.
Right, your drawing is 2-dimensional.
No, my drawing is trying to explain 3-dimensional, but it cannot. Remember, like I said, orthographic view doesn't take perspective into account.
Right, but you have a relationship.
Why it's got those compressions. That's why it's got those compression relationships at the ends to compress.
All right, but you have this relationship between the angle of elevation and the distance away from it. Are you willing to test that in reality for a scaled down version of something? Yes.
You can literally do that. You can go to 40 degrees latitude.
No, scale down.
Okay, yeah, you should be able to do it then.
Okay, that's the answer I wanted. Would you be willing to do that on a stream with me?
We can try.
Okay, good.
Sounds good.
That's all I had.
Sure.
All right, cheers, Ruhif.
Cool, thank you. See you.
All right, speak soon.
Thanks for coming. I don't know if anybody's in from me there.
We've got David Weatherhood, Olaf, Luba in China, Dave Berry, or Econ.
I have no idea who they are.
I'm just going to go for the one at the top, so Dave Weatherhead.
Yeah.
I popped the link in your chat again. I see Arwen there. He should come in for a talk. Dave Weatherhead, you are in the room.
I see his audio is connecting.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go.
David, hello.
Me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, perfect. It's not really a question. It's more just something that Flatzoid did in a live stream after, I think, your previous debate. And I'd like him to do it because I kind of want to see your reaction, Craig, to this.
Okay.
But it's where Flatzoid debunked maths using 2 cups in a response to a question about IVs and DVs.
Sorry,
And,
you debunked maths, did you say?
I know it's going to be bad for your health, but I thought it would be interesting to see.
I may have misheard, but did you say that Flatzoid debunked maths?
Yeah, so in a stream, I posited his claim about IVs and DVs, but from a mathematical basis, using, for example, a straight line, which is y equals mx plus c, so you have an IV and a DV. And he presented a debunk of maths, and I found it interesting. I would like to see your reaction to it.
Should I tell my wife to be on standby to call 911, or?
You might need to, yeah.
I'm sorry about that, Craig. That's my bad.
Yeah, please, Flatzoid, could you debunk maths for me?
Yeah, maths is not reality. It's a concept. It's a language. It just describes. I mean, you can have a mathematical equation for a unicorn fart, and it works, but does it really mean unicorns exist that can give unicorn farts? So he wants me to do the cup thing that was explaining. Okay, you can't see right now, but imagine I got 1 cup in my hand.
Yeah, okay. I've got 1 cup.
You got 1 cup in hand.
Yeah.
Now, mathematically, I can just plus another cup. So now mathematically, I got 2 cups, correct?
Okay, yeah, let's say this is another cup. I've got 2 cups, yeah.
No, but I think mathematically, I can say I have now 2 cups.
Yeah.
In reality, do you have 2 cups in your hand?
If I make the assumption this moon is a cup, yes, I've got 2 cups.
No, in reality, you don't have 2 cups in your hand. But mathematically, you have 2 cups in your hand.
Sorry, what?
You just hold a ball and a cup in your hand, not 2 cups?
But maths is just describing something. So, I mean, you're not describing something, you're just making something up. You're just saying, imagine I've got a cup, and then imagine I've got another cup. Is that reality? Well, no, I've just imagined that. But if I've got 1 cup and I add another cup, then I actually do have 2 cups. Because the maths describes reality.
Okay, then let's do it this way. Yanni and Sally walk into an ice cream shop. Yanni only has enough ice cream for 1. But Sally also wants an ice cream.
Well, so Sally's fucked.
He says, fine. We'll just multiply my money mathematically. So you can get an ice cream too.
That's not how maths works. No one says that you can do that. You're just making... That's not doing maths. That's just making things up. If I went to an ice cream shop, right, and they've only got 1 per portion of ice cream, what I could do mathematically is divide that ice cream by 2 and give each person 0.5 portions of ice cream. There is no physical way that I can multiply that ice cream by 2. There's nothing in reality that says you could do that, and there's no maths that says that you could do that, because that's just making things up. Maths, if I had 2 bits of ice cream, then I would have multiplied them, and I then could do the maths. Hypothetically, I could describe a scenario where I multiply the maths, the ice cream, and get more ice cream, but that's just a hypothetical scenario, and in no way debunks maths representing reality. I'm not entirely sure you know what maths is, Flatzoid.
Please hold the 1 cup in your hand again.
Where did I put it? There.
Just the 1 cup in your hand. Great. So mathematically, you can multiply that cup. Correct.
No, I can't.
Mathematically.
I've got nothing to multiply it by. Well, you're right. Mathematically, I can multiply this right now. I can multiply it by 1.
Great.
Yep, so I have mathematically multiplied this cup by 1, and it matches reality. I couldn't multiply it by 2 because I don't have the matter to multiply it by 2. If I did, then I could do the sum to say, well, with this amount of matter, I could mathematically have 2 cups. But what I can do, mathematically, that matches reality, is multiply this cup by 1.
So do you understand what the argument is now?
That you can make things up and it doesn't match reality. Because here's the thing. I disagree with your assertion that you can give me a working formula to describe a unicorn fart. There is no working formula to describe a unicorn fart, because despite unicorns being my country's national animal, they don't exist.
Okay.
Did you know that? Did you know that, by the way? Did you know that Scotland's national animal is literally the unicorn?
Okay.
I'm not kidding. That's an actual fact. Isn't that crazy?
U equals MCH. U equals MCH. There we go. There's your unicorn.
Again, no, you just made things up. That's nothing representing reality. You do not have a unicorn to test that theory on or to show mathematically that is a thing. You've just said some things and said it represents something. That's not how maths works.
But can that equation describe unicorn farts?
Absolutely not, no.
Now you're making a claim that it can't. Please provide evidence that it cannot.
Well, no, you've just made a positive claim that it can. You have the burden of proof. Please describe, please use that equation to describe unicorn farts, including the variables and data involved. Go on.
Okay. Depending how much horns the unicorn has, it's divided by the unicorn farts. That's what gives it strength. There we go.
Have you got any evidence for that, or have you just made something up in your head?
So, like gravity then. Congratulations.
Gravity isn't made up. Gravity is a measured thing. But you have literally just made up some things about a unicorn and said I can mathematically describe it. And again, you didn't mathematically describe it. You just said some things, all right? Give me the maths to actually back up your claim with numbers involved. No, you said a thing. Give me the numbers involved. Where they come from. What generates those numbers involved?
What generates those numbers involved? The belief of unicorns.
There's no such thing as unicorns.
Well, there's no such thing as gravity.
Well, there is. It's measured.
Where is it measured?
I did it
How do you measure? How do you measure something in the fourth dimension?
You can use a Cavendish experiment to measure gravity easily.
Sorry, is the Cavendish not experiment in 3 dimensions?
The Cavendish experiment measures gravity perfectly.
Is it in 3 dimensions or 4 dimensions?
It exists in a 3-dimensional universe with the 4th dimension of time. Everything exists in space-time.
How do you measure a 4th dimensional gravity in a 3-dimensional universe?
Because time is the 4th dimension, and you can measure something over a period of time. Boom.
Again, we are 3-dimensional beings, correct?
And time is the 4th dimension, and the movement of the movement through time, the movement of time described by the arrow of entropy is the 4th dimension. If you include a time variable in your experiment, you have included the 4th dimension.
What time?
Time is the entropy of the universe, the direction of entropy.
False.
The distance that a photon can travel, how long it takes a photon to travel a certain distance is time. Time is something that you can measure. Time is distance over velocity. Time is whatever you want to describe it as, to be able to determine that time is something that is measurable. Let me show you time right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm sorry, that's probably a bit too high for you, but 6. I just counted 6 seconds. I showed you what time was. That was the passage of time. That was the 4th dimension. Experiments can exist in that because time is always passing.
Okay, please go back to please go back in time for that quickly.
I never said I go back in time, and that's a straw man to suggest that I even said that.
Is time a concept?
No, absolutely not. Time is a measurable thing. I just measured time by counting.
No, you counted. You didn't measure anything.
I absolutely did. I measured the passage of time.
Can you count to 6 again and have it exactly in the same timeline that you had your other counting in 6 seconds?
If I have something to help me, yeah. But I'm pretty good at counting, so if I did it again, if I went 1, 2,
you do know
3,
you cannot
4, 5, 6. That was probably about the same amount of time that I did it in last time. So yeah, that's the passage of time.
I asked, can you go back to when you did it?
No, absolutely not. Currently, time travel isn't possible.
Great, because it's a concept.
No, time is a measurable thing. I measured it just now. You can't measure concepts.
So I just measured then unicorn farts.
No, you didn't. Unicorn farts are made up. Time is not.
Time is made up. Literally,
no, it's not. Time is measurable. I measure time. Let me measure time again for you. I'll do it a lot more accurate. Here we go. I'm measuring time right now. See, look at this. I'm measuring time. Time is being measured because time is a physical thing that is measurable. I'm currently measuring time there. I've measured 10 seconds and it's still going. Unicorn farts don't exist. Therefore, unicorn farts are not measurable.
What can time do to a person?
Age you?
No, that's entropy. What can time do to a person?
Yeah, time can age you, definitely. Entropy is known as the arrow of time. The passage of time. The passage of time causes you to age.
The passage of time is entropy. It's the arrow of time is based on entropy.
Yeah. So entropy describes time perfectly. So the passage of time, which can be described as entropy, causes you to age.
So it's not time then, it's entropy then.
Yeah, again, entropy is the arrow of time.
No, entropy is the microstates and macrostates changing to increase.
Yeah, and the only isolated system that exists, the entire universe, only has one direction of entropy. That is why it is known as the arrow of time. Time is a measurable thing that passes.
No,
time, if you were doing an experiment, time can cause things to happen. Like my famous teabag experiment that makes Sleeping Warrior cry himself to sleep. Although there's probably many things that make Sleeping Warrior cry himself to sleep.
Would you like to have a debate on time sometime?
Absolutely. Time's
Awesome.
great. Relativity proves that time is a tangible thing. Right, let's get someone else in rather than just us waffling.
Yeah.
Okay,
But
who we
thanks for
got?
coming, David.
Oh, Dave McKeegan.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for that.
Dave McKeegan's in.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you,
Dave
David
McKeegan,
Weatherhead.
Hey, Dave. Okay, he's not in yet. Wait. Hey, Dave McKeegan. Good to see you.
Hello, Dave McKeegan, my friend. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Why would you want to do
Thank you
this
for coming.
yourself?
I don't know. I'm still asking myself that.
Anyone that hasn't seen Dave McKeegan's recent videos on Flat Earth, he has been killing it. Some of his videos have recently been absolutely great. So please go and check out Dave McKeegan's channel. But Dave, welcome to the channel. Do you have a question for our friend Flatzoid here?
I think I do. It's a bit of clarification. I've not been. I've been listening in and out of the stream for a bit, so I just want to go back and clarify something that Flatzoid said before, just to make sure I didn't misunderstand it. Flatzoid, did you say that refraction magnifies things?
Yeah.
So,
The angle causes things to be magnified due to its angle.
okay, so anytime refraction takes place, then the object is magnified, yes?
From a certain angle.
From a certain angle. So in respects to how do you know then that the sun is being magnified then?
Easy. You have a focal length on your camera, correct?
Yes.
When you change the focal length, does it magnify the sun?
Not necessarily.
What is focal length?
Focal length is a measurement of the point of convergence of a lens to the camera sensor, and it is a relationship to the field of view that the lens produces.
Great, so magnification then.
Okay, so I have in my hand right now an 11mm focal length. If you go and look at a picture taken with one of those, everything looks tiny.
Yeah.
Right.
And I did with the 200mm.
Right, but that's at a different focal length.
So magnification. Thank you.
Right. So if I get a lens that goes from 20mm to 200mm, and I zoom it in, that's refraction, and it's magnifying it. Yes.
You're changing the angle, yes?
Right. Now I'm going to change the focal length back to 20mm. Is everything going to get magnified?
If you change the angle, yes. Changing the angle.
So anytime I change the focal length, everything's always going to be magnified.
Anything that you see through any lens is magnified.
Right, okay, I better take one of my lenses back then, because I'm looking through it now and everything looks bloody tiny.
Yeah, but that's because it's focusing it onto your sensor. You just debunked your whole argument, Craig. Ach, Dave.
How exactly have I just debunked the argument? My argument is that I'm looking through a camera lens, and when I zoom out, everything gets smaller. My lens is still refracting the light. It's made everything smaller. Your claim is refraction only ever makes things bigger.
No, I never said that's a straw man. I never said only makes things bigger.
You said refraction magnifies things.
So magnified doesn't just mean makes bigger. It's the angle that magnifies it. If you change the angle, it's going to get smaller or bigger. So that's
right. So it can go both ways. So it doesn't necessarily mean it makes things bigger. So when Craig put his glasses up to the camera before, it was a presumption of you to say it made things bigger. I'm looking at my screen through glasses right now, and when I move my glasses out of the way, everything stays the same size.
Is it nearsighted or farsighted glasses?
I can't see far away. I can't remember which way round it is, but I can see things close up, can't see far away. Or I can see, but everything's blurry.
144p.
So you nearsighted then. So you farsighted then. No, you say you can't see far, so you're nearsighted.
Near it, whatever it is, someone will put it in the chat, I'm sure. I can everything near me is in focus. Further away gets out of focus.
Okay, so what happens when you take those glasses off and you change the angle that you look through the glasses, like Craig did a about a few minutes, 20 minutes ago or something.
Right at this point, Flatzoid, I am looking just through the rim of my glasses, and I can see my name on the screen and my name blurry above it. Both are the same size, but one is blurry and one is not. But they're the same size.
I think you should go back off the screen. Or Craig, would you quickly do this with your glasses again? If you can see it. Yeah. Tilt
Yeah,
it.
so when I change the shape of the lens to make it more curved by doing that, then it changes the magnification. But in general, it's not the refraction doing that, it's the shape of the lens, because I've changed the shape of the lens. But in general, like that, there's no difference in size with my face when I've got the camera there or not.
So the angle changes the magnification because of the incident angle. Thank you.
No, not because of the incident angle, because of the shape of the lens. The incident angle has only changed once, right? There's the same incident angle change between this and this. There's still only one change in instant. There's one change in medium, but both of them are showing different things, right?
Right.
Yeah, but there's only one change in incidence. There's not a different amount of changes in incidence. So it's not the refraction that's causing the magnification. What's causing the magnification, or in this case, my chin seems to get smaller, is because I've changed the shape of the lens relative to the camera. The refraction, there's still only one incidence change. One. There's one into the glass and one out. Exactly the same as when I'm like that. The only difference is the shape of the lens relative to the camera. So it's not refraction causing the magnification. It's the shape of... No, you're not, because you're saying it's refraction, but it's not. It's the shape of the lens. That's not refraction. No, the shape of the lens is not refraction. Flatzoid,
the shape of the lens causes refraction.
Flatzoid, the shape of the lens is not refraction. The refraction is the change in incidence angle between going into the lens and not. You don't know what refraction is.
It doesn't change the refractive index. It doesn't change the incident angle.
No, there's still only one incidence angle change. Just one. And that's not causing the magnification. What's causing the magnification... Right, no matter which way I have it, the incidence angle change is going to be exactly the same, because the medium of my glasses, the density, is exactly the same no matter which way I'm pointing it towards the screen. So the incidence angle change is... Wait, let me finish. The incidence angle change, the one incidence angle change that is happening is exactly the same whether it's like that or like that. So there is the same refractive index change both ways, but there is a kind of magnification like that, but not like that. So the same refraction, but you change the shape of the lens, and there is magnification or distortion, which destroys your point.
I think you might need to look at this back a few times to actually get what's going on here.
You are cute. You're absolutely adorable. How many angle incidence changes are there? How many is happening?
It doesn't matter about the how many
yes it does, because if there's more, there's different refraction.
Remember in your argument about the cup, because it's curved,
the shape of the lens, exactly. But there's still only one refractive change. The medium.
When you change your angle of the glasses, it changes the angle towards where it's going. So the
no. Flatzoid, you don't know what angle incidence change is. The angle of incidence change is what happens when the light enters a different medium. Right, at that point, there's a change in the path of the light, okay? That angle that the light is changing as it enters my glass is exactly the same, whether I hold it like that or like that. Because the medium because the medium, the glass, the density of the glass does not change. The only thing that changes is the shape of the lens. Right? That's not refraction. The shape of the lens, the shape of the lens is not refraction. The angle of incidence change is exactly the same because the density of the medium is the same.
Okay,
and it's the density of the medium. Wait. It's the density of the medium that decides the angle of incidence change, not the shape of the lens. It's the density.
Okay, I've got a question for Dave then based on this. Dave, you obviously know what a rectilinear lens is, correct?
Yes.
Does the angle of incidence change based on a rectilinear lens compared to a wide angle lens?
Sorry, what was that? You broke up a bit there, mate.
I said the angle of incidence. Does that change from a rectilinear lens to a wide-angle lens?
Rectilinear and wide angle are the different. That's apples and oranges, mate. Rectilinear versus fisheye. Fisheye distorts everything. Rectilinear uses additional optic. Glass on a lens will naturally try and distort everything. Rectilinear lens is correct for that distortion.
Great. So you would understand it changes the angle of incidence then.
In what?
That's different lenses. I'm talking about the one lens here. I have one lens in my glasses. Light comes in and light goes out. Those are the only time there's incidence changes.
So shape changes the angle now, correct?
No, shape doesn't change the angle of incidence change.
This is hilarious, guys. This is hilarious.
What don't you want?
Flatzoid, you do realise, mate, that a camera lens is not a piece of glass. There are a dozen plus different pieces of glass in there with different densities of glass, with different curvature angles. Some will be concave, some will be convex. They're placed in different ways in order to control the light. So when you make this similarity claim between a pair of glasses to a camera lens, they're nothing close. A pair of glasses, focal glasses on your eyes, are one piece of glass that are shaped to correct the focus for your eye.
You would agree then that the camera is just simply trying to focus that angle onto a certain point, so it can make it in focus on the sensor.
Yes, the camera lens is focusing light.
Great. So now when you put a rectilinear lens on compared to a fisheye lens, you see different optical effects, correct?
Yes, because you're putting it through more and more glass.
Great. So the shape changes the angle of incidence.
No. The angle of incidence is what happens when you go from one medium to another. Inside the glass, there is no change in medium. There is no change in density. There is no angle of incidence change within the glass.
Okay, Craig, if I go and I take a laser and I stick it 90 degrees.
You shouldn't be allowed to touch lasers.
Okay, let's say at 80 degrees towards a barrier. The incident angle would be different than when I point that same laser 20 degrees towards the barrier, correct?
I don't think you know what incidence angle change means.
Oh, yes, I do.
No.
That's why you
right,
are
so
hopelessly
the incidence
losing the
angle
argument
change
here.
is the amount of change that the light has as it goes into a medium, right? Based on the density and temperature change. It's not based on the angle that you point it in, right? The angle that you point it in, it's still going into a different density and will have the same angle of incidence change, because the angle of incidence change is caused by the change in mediums, not the angle of the light going into the medium. That's not what angle of incidence change means. That's where you're confused. You don't know what that... Flatzoid, stop. Flatzoid, stop. Flatzoid, stop. You don't know what angle of incidence change means, and that is your problem.
I'm sorry, have you ever looked at Snell's law equation before?
Yeah, absolutely I have.
Okay, what's N1, sine 1?
What is it? You tell us.
N2, sine 2. Incident index, refracted index, incident angle, refracted angle. Right?
Yes. Because that's what the incident angle is. The incident angle is the change that happens when you go from one medium to another. That's what it is.
Now, what happens when you have changed your incident angle to a point with
the only way you change your incident change angle is by changing the medium that it's going to. Again, listen to the words coming out of my mouth. The incident change angle is the angle that is caused, the angle change in the path of light that is caused by going from one medium to another. It's not to do with the angle of the light going into that medium. It's to do with the change in the medium.
If you change the angle towards the medium, it changes the refracted angle. Does it not? I can show you literally people taking a fish tank, moving the laser pointer around, and it changes the angle.
Yeah, because as the angle difference between one medium to another will always be the same.
No, same medium. Same medium.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Distance.
And if you look at the angle of the light going into that compared to the angle of the light in it, it will always be the same.
It's never the same. Then you would say it doesn't matter where you point the laser pointer, it's always going to go to
the amount of change is dependent on the medium. What don't you understand?
You don't get what an incident angle is.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
no, you really don't in the slightest, do you? It's incredible.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else?
Yeah.
You want
So,
to ask, Dave?
do you think that if you go through a medium at an angle, it changes the refractive index of that medium?
What's an internal refraction angle?
Answer my question. Do you think that if you change the angle that you go into a medium, it changes the refractive index of that medium?
No, it doesn't change the index. It changes the refractive angle.
The refractive
Showing you
angle?
do not understand Snell's law. Thank you very much.
You mean the angle that is caused by moving the light going into it? Of course that's going to change. But the angle change isn't what changes the angle of incidence change. That is the amount, that's like an amount of change due to the medium. That's what it is. Obviously, if you change the point going in, it's going to change where the angle is going afterwards. But the amount of change is decided by the medium, not the angle. Okay. Now we've cleared that up. Still there? What's going on? Is anyone still there?
I'm still here.
Flatzoid?
Yeah, I'm trying to just share a screen.
Sorry, I thought you disappeared then.
Seems to be freezing on me. I just want to get to the point where I need to get there. And I'll quickly share the screen so you can see for 2 seconds. Then we can everybody see just how wrong you are, as usual. Thank you.
Just how wrong I am, as usual. Lovely. So again, the amount that the angle changes, is a consequence of the density, right?
Okay, I'm going to quickly share the screen. Be sure to show everybody.
And a change in angle isn't going to magnify. Yeah, so you're showing something with a gradient as well, not with a, well, yeah, that's a constant medium. And so the angle, the amount of angle that changes is dependent on the medium.
Did you just see that?
Yeah, so the amount of the angle changing is dependent on the medium, right? Yeah, so
the angle changes the refracted angle?
Yeah, again, the angle of it going in will obviously affect the light angle going in, but the amount of change of that angle, which is the incident change angle, is a consequence of the medium, of the density of the medium. What don't you understand about that?
Again.
Right, so, right, here's my question to you. Here's my question to you. Here's
the light path, hence can magnify it.
And does not refract it. Because you change the shape of the lens. That's not changing the refractive index. It's not changing the amount of refraction that's happening. Because the medium is still the same. Right? So again, let me ask you a simple question. Right? How many incident angle changes is happening in my glasses?
Just one.
Two.
No, your refractive.
One in, one out.
Incident angle. You have one incident angle, one refractive angle.
There's two. There's one in and there's one out. There's two changes. There's two incident angle changes.
Incident angles do you have?
Two. There's two of them in my glasses.
You know what an incident angle is? It's
the change between mediums. Right? No, so there's two. There's one as it comes. Hey, stop talking. Maybe you can learn. Right? There's two. There's one as it enters my glasses, and there's one as it exits my glasses, right? So add those together, one as it enters my glasses, and then one as it exits my glasses. How many is that?
Again, you asked how much
No.
incident
How many
angles.
is that? How many instant angle changes is that? One or one as it enters, and then one as it exits. So when you add those together, how many do you get?
You only have one incident angle and one refractive angle. That second
So the
angle
light
is
doesn't come out of my
refracted
glasses
angle.
then, it just stays in my glasses.
Again, you only have one incident angle, that's the light coming in, and one refracted angle, that's the light traveling through the medium.
And what happens when it gets to the other side of my glasses? Is there another instance angle change?
Then it has a new angle.
So it's yes or no question. Is there another instant angle change as it exits my glasses?
Then it becomes a new incident angle to that new refracted angle.
So how many instant angle changes is there
a
in my
new
glasses
medium.
altogether? How
That's
many instant angle changes is there in my glasses?
One.
We just talked
It's
it
one
through.
medium.
So there's
Oh, you
one as it
missed out.
enters. Listen
Literally.
to it's Flatzoid. Listen to the words coming out of my mouth. There's one change in instant angle as it enters, and there's one change in instant angle as it exits.
No.
So
there's
how
not
many
a
does
change
that
of
make in
incident-
total?
There's no change of incident angle when it exits. An incident angle only enters. A refractive angle exits. Right?
So you're saying that as the light goes from one medium to another, there is no instant angle change? Because that's what an instant angle is, you moron!
The incident angle is the angle hitting the barrier. A refractive angle is the one that's already through the barrier.
Yeah, and
Oh, you
so
did
how
that.
many barriers is there on my glasses? Two. One on each side.
One.
So there's no barrier on the
One
other side. There's
glass.
nothing for the
It's
light.
one glass.
Right. So as the light goes into my glass, it's got one instant angle change. So it's traveled
Yes,
through
and
the glass, and what's happening as it leaves the glass and goes that way?
A new instant angle that's in a different
So that's
medium,
two.
Craig.
So there's two instant angle changes with the glass.
No.
Yes!
One incident angle, one refractive angle. When it leaves the glasses, it now has a new incident angle to the atmo.
So that makes
You
two.
get that?
That's two then.
No.
Yeah,
It's
one
two different
in,
systems.
one from the atmosphere, one to the atmosphere. That is two.
Two different systems.
No, they're both the light in the glass. There's an instant angle change as it enters, and there's an instant angle change as it exits, going from one medium to another.
Is your retina and your cornea the same system? Are they the same thing?
I no, and they're not my glasses, so it's irrelevant.
Thank you. Is your glass is your eye?
No, and I'm not saying they are, so it's
Thank
irrelevant.
you.
We're talking about my
Thank you.
glasses.
Thank you.
No, we're talking about my
Thank you.
glasses,
It's
nothing
all-
else.
It's not, just because you're losing badly doesn't mean you have to
In
make
what way am I
sure that-
losing? You can't count to two.
This is getting really sad, guys. Yeah. Can we get to the
Seriously.
next argument?
Right. An instant angle change is what happens when the light goes from one medium to another. Right? Do you agree?
No.
What the fuck?
The refractive angle is what changes due to the infinite angle that hits the medium.
Say that again.
The refracted angle is the thing that changes due to the incident angle that hits the barrier.
So,
do you know how a mirror works? Do you know how a mirror works?
we're talking about my glasses. Right. So, the light enters my glasses. All right. There is an angle of incidence. Right. It changes the direction of the light as it enters my glasses. Okay. And then, within the glasses, there's the angle of refraction. Okay. It is changing the position, the direction the light's changing. Okay. Then, it gets to the other side of the glass. And there is now another angle of incidence change as it goes from the glass to the air between my eye and the glasses. There is two angle of incidence changes because of the glass.
So a different system then.
No, the glasses is one system.
I got Andre says he wants to ask you a question.
Yeah, fine. Dave, have you finished with your questions for Flatzoid?
Oh, sorry, mate. I forgot I was here. Well, if you've got other people wanting to come in, I can leave it. I was going to ask him something else, but I think I've probably overstayed my welcome.
Well, no, absolutely not. If you've got one more quick question before he brings his guy on, that's absolutely fine. I'm
not really sure if it's quick. It's so Flatzoid. You've mentioned the Black Swan a few times. So you don't agree with the globe concept that it's refraction that's causing us to be able to see further beyond the horizon, no?
That's not what the Black Swan's about. When you say refraction, you're literally going against your globe. The refraction, that's why we want you to say refraction. Remember, your globe has a geometric horizon, correct? It's physically that radius value. You understand that?
Yeah, but that's not what we see, because what we're seeing is the light coming from objects.
Exactly, so refracted. So you sit with a bit of a paradox. You have a geometric horizon radius dictated to you through a refracted observation, correct? So optical.
No, we have a geometric horizon that says something should only be visible this far, but due to refraction, at times we can see it further than that. I just want to know what your standpoint is because flat earthers show the Black Swan and say, oh, you shouldn't be able to see that far. We say it's because of refraction. Do you say, no, it can't be because of refraction, it's because the Earth is flat?
Refraction's a real thing. No, refraction's a real thing. Would you actually like to maybe come and talk to me about this? Because, I mean, we can go on for hours about this.
Well, I kind of need a flat Earth model in order to debate you, because...
No, don't worry about... We talk about refraction and the Black Swan. You don't need to worry about a flat Earth model, but this is literally just about the Black Swan and the refraction.
Well, no, because it's all one and the same thing, and I don't want to... You've already had a go at Craig this evening for strawmanning you because what flat earthers believe. So if you can give me details about what you believe is the flat Earth model, so that we can actually have a debate about it.
Sorry, but that's just trying to reverse the burden of proof onto me. I don't need to give any model. The model for contention here is your globe. That's what the Black Swan argument is about. You brought up the Black Swan. So the flat Earth has got nothing to do with it.
Right. Well, so right. Sorry, well, maybe I wasn't clear on this. I was trying to get some information about the flat Earth. I was using the Black Swan as an example in order to lead me into the next part.
Okay, but like I said, you can always come and talk about the Black Swan if you want to. It'll be great. And we can talk about Flat Earth too if you want to.
Okay, well, let's see how long it takes me to get over the current headache that I've got, and then I'll consider it.
Hey, Dave, I appreciate you taking your time to come on, my friend. It's a pleasure to have you.
Yeah. You seem like a nice guy, at least, Dave.
Thank you. You too.
Sure.
I'll speak to you soon, Dave. Thanks very much.
All right, take care, guys.
Take care,
okay,
bye.
Who was it that wanted to come on?
I think it was Andres.
I only see two in the chat. In the room, Etchon and Lubo.
What's the name?
Lubo, who's one of mine, and then Etchon.
It might be Etchon. I don't know.
Oh, I'll let them in, and then we'll do Lubo.
Etchon. It might be him.
Hey.
Or Econ. Hello, Econ. Etchon.
Hey. Yes, first one was right. So, how you doing? I'm from your Discord, your YouTube. Love your channel. Fight.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely amazing stuff you got going on.
Appreciate it.
Flatzoid, I have a question. I was going off topic from that whole lensing thing about the International Space Station.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm not sure what your stance on the International Space Station is, but can you give me a brief overview of what the International Space Station is to you?
It's a mock-up studio in the bottom of a pool in Houston, but we do see something up there, which is probably just a lower altitude drone or something.
A drone. Okay, so it's a drone. So what's holding it up exactly to you?
A drone usually is self-propellant, isn't it?
Okay, now how big is this drone?
I don't know. It could be anything. I mean, it's easy to have something flying at a lower altitude that mimics the same claimed velocity and the same apparent angular size.
So you think they can recreate a drone that travels at almost 17,000 miles an hour, 17,500
Doesn't
miles an hour?
actually travel at that speed. It's just something that's smaller.
I mean, Red Dragon
Smaller.
proved it does.
Slower. Okay.
Yeah. You can
And it
literally do
looks.
this yourself. You can.
And it looks just like the ISS.
I mean, Craig literally did that with his 2 pens in the same debate. It's called
Okay.
parallax.
And this drone looks just like the International Space Station they show us.
Yeah.
So, where's the thing holding it up?
I
Where's
don't
it
understand
at?
what you mean. Where's the thing holding it up? You guys don't have anything holding up your ISS. The burner, you're trying to reverse the burner proof onto me. The ISS is a globe thing, not a flat Earth thing. So, I don't actually need to give answers on what's holding it up or anything.
Flatzoid. Okay. So you said it's a drone.
I say it could be. It's speculation. I'm not
Or
saying
it
is.
could be a drone. Could be a drone. Could be a drone. Now, how could this drone be replicated to look just like the ISS?
You telling me you can't build a drone to look the same?
Okay,
And
but
just
you don't.
fly
What,
at a lower altitude.
Flatzoid, what is holding up this drone?
What do you mean? What's holding up the drone? Drones fly. Have you never
Yes,
seen a
yes.
military
How is
drone
it flying? How is it flying? Can you explain to me how this thing that looks just like the ISS is flying, where you can't see anything that makes it fly?
When you see a drone in the air, do you a military drone? Do you see what makes it fly?
A military. Okay, give me an example of a military drone.
It's literally you don't see anything. That's what a military drone is supposed to be. That you can't really see it. Do you see anything trying to make it move?
I mean, it's got what's the word I'm looking for?
Or how about a high altitude balloon like the one they shot down apparently from
No,
China?
because there's no
What
balloons
was
holding
making
it up.
it move? What was making it move?
Look, there is no balloon on the ISS.
I'm telling you, you're trying to ask me what is making it stay up there and move? What moves a drone? So I'm literally saying, okay, like a hot air, a high altitude balloon. What makes it move?
From side to side?
Yeah.
Okay, see, this is not... I'm talking about the ISS. There are no balloons on the ISS. Okay? We can confirm this by looking at it.
That's not what I'm saying.
We've also confirmed the height and speed of the ISS.
Yeah, we've also confirmed... I mean, it's...
Okay, that's why I ask you, can something that's just smaller at a lower altitude give the same apparent altitude and angular size of velocity?
Not when
we
measured
have
from two different places, no.
Why
We've
not?
confirmed... no, it can, but we've confirmed the height
Okay,
and
let's.
speed.
If you let's say you look at the moon with your camera at night and a fly or a moth flies past you at close to your camera. It has the same angular size as the so-called ISS.
Yeah,
at
I
the
never
same-
denied that. I never
Thank
denied
you.
that.
But now that has the same angular size, it has the same apparent velocity, and it's lower at altitude. A moth just destroyed your whole argument.
No, it didn't, because we know how high the International Space Station is,
No,
and we know
you
how fast
think
it's
you
traveling.
know. No, you don't know. You think you know.
I mean, it's
There's
also
a
been
difference.
measured with radar. So, I mean, radar
Yeah.
doesn't lie.
Cool.
Cool.
Is
I
that
still
what
don't
you've
know
got?
what this has got to do with anything.
Okay.
You asked me specifically about me, what I see about the ISS, so I don't know.
Well, how do you
Unless
respond
you're
to the
telling
fact
me
that we've
to be a drone.
measured the height and speed of it with radar to confirm what NASA say?
That's interesting. Like I said, he asked me if that's what I thought, and that's what I think. Could be a drone. Not saying it is, I'm just saying it could be.
Okay, but based on the fact that we have confirmed that it's, 300 miles up and traveling at 17,000 miles an hour, what do you say is based on those being known facts?
Even if it is there, what does it got to do with not being a flat Earth anyway? I
How
mean,
would it
last
be
night I spoke
300
about
miles up,
my
traveling at
firmament thing. I
17,000
don't know if you
miles an hour, the
remember
Earth is
Operation Fishbowl. I spoke about the highest atomic, the atomic bomb they shot was at the ISS altitude. So why is it that could only shoot that high with a nuke?
That wasn't that they could only. That's just the height they chose to.
Is that so? Can you?
Yeah, and also I do
why?
need to talk to you about the fact that you said nuclear power isn't real. As a
I
nuclear
never said
engineer,
nuclear power isn't real. There's nuclear
someone sent me a
actors
clip of
that
you
are
saying
real.
that. Someone sent me a clip of you saying you don't think nuclear power is real.
Nuclear fission is a real thing.
Nuclear
So that's a
fusion as well.
misrepresentation and a lie.
Sorry, what was the lie?
People saying I don't think nuclear fission's a real thing. It's definitely a real thing.
But
Then we wouldn't
I've
have
got
nuclear
a clip
plants.
of you saying
Submarines wouldn't be able to work if
Yeah.
nuclear fission wasn't a real thing.
I'm confused. I literally have a clip of you saying that you don't think it's real.
Nuclear bombs are not
Maybe it was
what they
bombs.
say they are.
I mean,
That's what I said.
I've slept next to one. It's definitely real.
Not what they say they are, Craig.
What's it?
Not saying it doesn't exist. Not
I
what
mean,
they
they're
say
definitely
are.
what they
Two
say
different
they are
things.
because it
But
was
anyway,
kind
you
of
guys
part of
are
my job
literally
to
trying to put
maintain
words
them.
in my mouth now.
Again, I worked with the nuclear warheads on V-boats. They're definitely real things.
Yeah, and I never said they're not. So congratulations.
Okay, cool. Right, so do you agree that the ISS could potentially be 300 miles up and traveling at 17,000 miles an hour?
No, not a tin can flying in a vacuum to space.
Except that we've confirmed it.
It could be something up there. We definitely see something up there, but it doesn't mean it's a tin flying can in the vacuums of space.
But we've seen the shape of it.
Yeah, I have a video. I
Like I
actually
said.
just took a picture of it the other night.
Congratulations.
So it's
I don't know what
definitely
this
a
has got to do
metal
with me.
thing in a near
It's your
vacuum.
burden to prove it exists and that it goes against, can actually exist there where it's supposed to be. Not my burden to try and.
But it
prove
is
whatever
there.
you
We've
want me to
proved
prove
that
about
it is there, and we've proved what it is. We've proved the size, shape, and speed of it. So
This is the
Yeah,
picture
and
I
I
took
said
of the ISS. It exists, and we know. Do what?
And you know that's actually a pressurized tin can in the vacuum of space with people on board? Or do you just believe it?
There's 7 people on. Yes.
So
you
that's
can
a belief.
talk to them when it
not
goes
say no.
over.
No, that's not a belief.
It just means you're suggestible. You are
Right,
gullible.
Flatzoid, get a ham radio, and you can talk to them when they go over you.
Yeah.
There's some things called relay stations.
Oh, right. So there's people just sitting there waiting to talk to people with the relay that's going over.
Relay stations.
Despite the videos,
I can ask
the
you the
hour-long
same thing.
videos
Why is there
in
so
the
much
ISS,
fakery on the ISS then if
there's
they're
no
supposed to be real?
fakery on the ISS ever. There's
no fakery on the ISS?
No,
ever?
there's people not understanding what they're seeing, but there's definitely no fakery.
Yeah, keep telling yourself that, mate.
No, I've debunked every bit of supposed fakery I've ever been shown.
Is that so?
Yeah.
Okay, go on my video.
Which
where
one?
I have
You've got a lot now.
Are you suggestible? Are you suggestible? And go try debunk all those things I showed that were fake there, please.
Oh, right. I haven't watched
ahead.
that new one. Is that all about NASA stuff?
It's called Are You Suggestible?
Yeah. And has it got a bunch of NASA
Yeah.
stuff in it, is it?
There's a part in the middle there where it literally shows how fake it is. Go ahead and debunk it, please. I want to see
Okay,
that.
no worries. Sounds good.
Cool.
So,
It's getting kind of late here, guys. My power's about to go off, I think, in an hour.
okay, well,
it's 2 o'clock almost in the morning.
you had,
Almost
was
2
it
a.m.
Josh wanted to come in and say something?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
someone
Thanks.
come in.
Thanks,
Sure,
Flatzoid.
thank you, John. Much appreciated. Nice to speak to you. Appreciate
appreciate
the
it.
support as well.
Akon, if you ever want to
Alright.
just come and talk to me, you can come in my stream and talk sometime. That'll be cool.
Absolutely. I'll definitely make a
Okay.
time to do that.
All right,
Yeah,
thanks,
then we
buddy.
have more time
Appreciate it.
to talk about it.
All right, and I'm pretty
Appreciate
sure
it. Bye.
Josh was on your side, Flatzoid, so I'll let Josh in next, and then we can shut down and do final thoughts and stuff.
Awesome. Thanks, man.
All right. Hold on. I got to figure out how to leave.
Bye.
Bye.
I'll see you later.
Bye. Hey, Josh.
Hi, Flatzoid. Can you hear me?
Hey, Josh, how you
Yeah,
doing? We
yeah.
hear you.
I'm not on your side. Sorry, Flatzoid. I do love you though. You fascinate me, and I'm rooting for you for the top left awards.
Aye, it's wits it all the way. You should bloody know that.
Sorry. Well, what I just wanted to ask Flatzoid was like, I just wanted to follow up on the ISS question by saying, like, not only everything that was just mentioned about the ISS, but also if you have like a phone app, for example, you can track the ISS, and not only does it appear when it says it will appear, but also it orbits the Earth as we say it would orbit, at the speed we say it would orbit. So, like, if it's a drone or fakery, what mechanism has it appear, for example, on one side of the Earth and then 90 minutes later on the other side of the Earth? Is it really fast, or is there multiple of them?
You never know. It's, like I said, it could just be speculation.
What?
That's why I said he asked me based on what I think, and that's just speculation. So you can't just take what I'm saying as fact. I never said it.
Well, no,
I do know. But one thing I do know
we
is
just like your opinion.
The ISS cannot be a flying tin can in the vacuums of space. It cannot be that orbiting tin can, as you guys
Why
say.
not?
Why?
Why? Because it will violate the natural law of thermodynamics.
No, okay, that's a Nathan Oakley moment, and I get
No,
that.
it's nothing to do with
That's not
Nathan
true.
Oakley. It's literally
Which law would it violate?
the law of entropy, the second law of thermodynamics. That's what.
What is the second law
is.
of thermodynamics? Could you tell it to me, please?
The second law of thermodynamics describes the systems changes macrostate to macrostate into an increasing system.
What does the second
Nothing
law?
will decrease.
Which particular type
Entropy
of system?
will never-
Specifically, what type of system is the second law of thermodynamics referring to?
All three, open,
No,
closed, and
the second law of thermodynamics refers specifically to an isolated system.
And do isolated systems work?
The universe.
Are they real or are they just hypothetical?
The only one that we know of is the universe.
And is it an isolated system hypothetical, or is it actually real?
Well, the only real isolated system we know of is the universe.
Again, it's simple. Is it a hypothetical
I just
system
told you there's a
or
real one, and it's called the universe.
Cool. So you can actually demonstrate a real isolated system for me, please.
The entire universe, yes.
No, not point to the sky on a belief. Show me a real isolated system.
There is only one. It is the entire universe.
You pointing to the sky is not.
I'm not pointing to the sky.
demonstrating
I'm
an
pointing
actual
to the
thermodynamic-
entire universe. The entire universe is the only isolated system in existence. I cannot show you an isolated system apart from the universe, because the
But it's a
universe is the only
hypothetical, that's
isolated
why.
system that exists. And the second law of thermodynamics talks specifically about an isolated system. It
So
doesn't
when you go
mention
and
any
learn-
other kind of systems. It
When you go
specifically
learn
says an
mechanical
isolated
engineering,
system.
When you
Sorry?
go learn mechanical engineering, do they teach
Yeah,
you
I've got a
three
degree
different-
in nuclear engineering.
Do they teach you 3 different systems?
Yes, and they also explain how the second law of thermodynamics talks about an isolated system. That is what it is referring to.
It talks about all 3 systems. It just says the entropy.
Could you please read this? Right, actually go to the second law of thermodynamics and read it. Because the second law of thermodynamics says specifically isolated system. It doesn't talk about any other type of system. It says specific. No, you're wrong. You're wrong. Flatzoid, no, wait, Flatzoid, you're wrong. As an engineering degree person holding, I am telling you you are wrong. The second law of thermodynamics specifically references only an isolated system.
Can I debunk you quickly?
You can't, because that is what the second law of thermodynamics is. The only way you can debunk me is by showing me the second law of thermodynamics.
I'm going to give you one word. One word that debunks you. Fridge.
Yeah, that's not an isolated system.
That's entropy. Does the fridge work on entropy or not? The second law of thermodynamics.
The fridge reverses entropy.
Oh, so it
within the enclosed system, within the system of the fridge and the freezer, it reverses entropy. But the second law of thermodynamics, it literally says, it talks about an isolated system, and that's it. It doesn't talk about any other type of system, only isolated systems.
So the surrounding system to the fridge, is it increasing entropy?
The surrounding system is, but again, the second law of thermodynamics isn't talking about your fridge. The second law of thermodynamics stop. Right. What don't you understand? The second law of thermodynamics specifically says in the second law of thermodynamics that it's about an isolated system. Do you understand that?
I can literally bring you up 3 thermodynamic systems. Correct?
That doesn't change what the second law of thermodynamics is. The second law of thermodynamics references isolated system. The second law may be formulated by the observation that the entropy of isolated systems left to spontaneous evolution cannot decrease, as they always arrive at a state of thermodynamic equilibrium. Isolated systems. Do you understand that? That's what the second law of thermodynamics is. Isolated system.
Which is a hypothetical. You know why the universe is the hypothetical isolated system, Craig? You know why?
Tell us.
Because it's the barrier to the end. There's nothing.
Exactly, and that's the only. But it's the only isolated system. So the second law of thermodynamics is talking about the universe and the entropy existing within the universe. Isolated systems. You cannot refer the second law of thermodynamics to other types of systems because it talks about isolate. Listen, stop talking. Right? I have a degree in engineering. Right? Stop. I have a degree in engineering, and I am using that right now to tell you that you are wrong. You need to learn from what I am telling you. The second law of thermodynamics specifically talks about isolated systems. Do you understand that? Yes or no?
Isolated system is a hypothetical because
right, okay. Listen to the words coming out of my mouth. Listen to the words coming out of my mouth. It's a yes or no question. The second law of thermodynamics specifically talks about isolated systems. Do you understand that? Yes or no?
It specifically talks
it's a yes or no question. It's a yes or no question. Yes or no question. Do you understand the concept that the second law of thermodynamics only refers to an isolated system? Yes or no?
It doesn't only.
Yes, it does, because it specifically says that. That's what the second law is. You don't know what the second law of thermodynamics is. You literally don't know what the second law of thermodynamics is.
What happens when you stick a closed system with gas, let's say for instance, pressure, and you open it? What's happening to the universe?
The entropy is increasing like it always does in the universe.
Thermodynamics in a nutshell. So,
but again, that doesn't change the fact that the second law is specifically about isolated systems. So you can't talk about other things when you're talking about the second law unless you're talking about isolated systems, because that's what the second law of thermodynamics is.
Okay, so
Jesus Christ,
Craig, when last have you used the combustion engine?
That's not an isolated system.
Yeah, but it runs.
So it doesn't. The second law of thermodynamics doesn't apply because it's not an isolated system. You need to understand these words. Second law, isolated system. Right? Do me a favor, right? Actually read the second law of thermodynamics, because you haven't. You've never done that. Therefore, you don't know what you're talking about. Right? I'm going to read it to you. I'm going to read it to you once again so that you understand. Okay? It's very, very, very simple. The second law may be formulated by the observation. Well, I'm talking right now. Right? So just listen and learn. It's very important that you learn. Okay? The second law may be formulated by the observation that the entropy of isolated systems left to spontaneous evolution cannot decrease, as they always arrive at a state of thermodynamic equilibrium where the entropy is highest at the given internal energy. Isolated systems, right? Do you understand? You heard me say the words. You heard me say the words isolated systems, right?
Isolated system is the
hypothetical. Cool. And what is the only isolated system that we know of? The universe.
Because it's the hypothetical boundary.
There's and that's what the second law of thermodynamics is talking about.
I can't help you. Don't understand.
So nothing about the ISS is violating the second law of thermodynamics. Nothing at all.
Yes. But anyway, can I bring up a lecture from MIT for you?
If you like. I guarantee you are about to display Toon's Law of Flerf number 1.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to let him talk about the 4 laws of thermodynamics for you quickly. How's that sound?
Well, we won't be able to hear because the audio doesn't come through from you, so...
No, not me. It's on the lecture. Well, actually...
Yeah, the audio from your videos doesn't seem to come through.
We just need this one piece. There we go. I'm going to quickly... But
Well,
does the audio from my video come through?
Yeah, that's what we were saying earlier. The audio from your video doesn't seem to come through. So why don't you paraphrase what it
Okay,
says?
it's fine. Then I'm just going to... He's going to draw it down for you. Then I'll explain it to you quickly.
Okay, go ahead.
You see that? Thermodynamics?
Yeah.
Specifically about the heat and the
he
movement.
didn't say the second law, he just said thermodynamics.
But that's specifically about the heat and the movement, correct?
Yeah, but he didn't say the second law of thermodynamics, he just was talking about thermodynamics. You said that the ISS violates the second law of thermodynamics. Nothing about the ISS violates the fact that entropy in the universe always increases. Nothing at all.
The ISS had let's say, a hole at one stage, correct?
It's still got one, actually.
And what did they close it up with?
Some duct tape.
Okay, great. Now, what, according to the second law of thermodynamics, if there's a hole in a closed system, that becomes an open system in a low pressure system, surrounding system, what happens? What happens
second law
to
of
entropy in that
thermodynamics
situation?
refers to isolated systems, so...
What happens? Yeah, the universe is an isolated system, remember? So now the ISS is a closed system inside that isolated system. So remember earlier I said if you take
so entropy increases,
what happens?
the entropy of the universe increases overall, yes, no problem.
Great, okay, but is this instantaneously?
No, it's never instantaneously. It evolves over time. Again, you don't know what the second law of thermodynamics is.
Oh, okay. So I'm going to quickly bring up something again for you, because you seem to not actually get...
I mean, I love the fact that your MIT lecture didn't back you up in any way.
It literally did.
No, because it didn't mention the second law of thermodynamics once.
You understand what's going on?
He didn't say anything about the second law of thermodynamics.
One of these bulbs, some broke.
Okay, I'm going to bring up something for you here. Let's see if I can share the screen to that. I hope I can. Window. There we go. Okay, I'm going to share something quickly.
One of these bulbs, some bromine. And in the other, I have a vacuum. And if I open the tap between these two, you will see spontaneously the bromine rush from one to the other.
I mean, he says spontaneously, but it wasn't instant. There was a speed that gas went in.
In this case, expansion into a vacuum, nothing else is involved. There's no energy change, there's no temperature change, there's no change except entropy. So without the entropy
There we go.
Yeah. Even though he says spontaneous, it isn't an instant thing. There's a speed that gas traveled. You do realize that, right?
Obviously, everything's got a speed, but that's spontaneously. That's how entropy works. So,
no, entropy doesn't work spontaneously. Entropy is something that evolves over time.
In a vacuum. According to this guy, what did he just show? Would that gas have just evacuated straight into the universe?
There was quite a lot of gas that was going out, yeah, but it was a very small hole. So there wasn't.
What happened?
Plus, there's an internal pressure that's being created by stuff that they've got on the ISS, and if the internal pressure on the ISS drops, then they can just turn up the pressure to counter it. And the mass flow rate. Wait, let me finish. I'm still talking. Right, the mass flow rate of the air that was leaving that hole wouldn't have been enough to adjust the pressure within low enough with the increased pressure coming from the stuff that they've already got inside. So a tiny little hole, a tiny little hole with a very, very, very small mass flow rate isn't going to have the ability to instantaneously transfer all of the mass of all of the air in the ISS out of it, because there's too much of it.
Do you know what happens to a ruptured system in a vacuum?
To a ruptured system?
In a vacuum, yeah.
Well, we saw what happened to a ruptured system in a vacuum. They had to fix it because the internal air pressure dropped slightly.
No, I asked, do you know what happens to it?
There's a change in pressure, yeah.
A little pinprick in a pressurized system. Does it rupture it bigger as soon as that pressure forces?
No, not necessarily. It depends on the materials involved.
Yes, necessarily.
No, it depends on the materials involved. It depends on the materials. Listen to the words coming out of my mouth. It depends on the materials involved and the structural integrity of the materials involved.
Like
maybe, just maybe, they designed the ISS in such a way that a tiny little hole wouldn't make the entire thing implode. Maybe, just maybe, when they were designing the ISS, they took the possibilities that there might at points be tiny holes punctured into it into account and designed that to make sure it didn't just implode immediately. Maybe, just maybe, that's the case.
Maybe. What happens to an airplane at high altitude when it ruptures?
Depends on the size of the hole and the materials involved.
Does that hole get bigger?
Not necessarily, no.
Always. Sorry to burst.
No, absolutely not. Because I've got videos of someone, a pilot, opening the window to put their phone out to take a picture, and the wind taking the phone away. And when he opened that window, the hole didn't get bigger. That doesn't happen every time. It depends on the materials involved and the structural integrity of the materials involved. So if there is a fatal flaw, then yes, there's something that will happen that will rip open. And that's what happens sometimes on aeroplanes. There's a fatal flaw that happens and it rips open big. But you can have little holes in pressurized system without massive rupturing happening all the time. In fact, my car, my last car, had 3 holes in the engine that was problematic and reducing the pressure. The engine still worked because it could maintain enough of a pressure, but that pressurized system didn't crumple and rupture just because there was a few holes leading into it. No, it depends on the materials involved.
Okay, last question before we close off. How much ton of pressure can duct tape hold?
I don't know, quite a lot.
Apparently on the ISS, yeah. So
yeah.
I would like.
Did you calculate what the pressure was? Did you calculate what the pressure was? Right. So calculate what the pressure differential was between the inside and the outside of the ISS and the mass flow rate of the air leaving that tiny hole, and see if it was enough for the duct tape. But anyway, if you need to get going, I fully understand. I know it's very late over there.
It's 2 o'clock.
Yeah. So thank you very much for a wonderful chat. I do appreciate it. How about we make this a regular thing?
So yeah, I just want to say thank you. We should maybe do it again sometime.
Yeah. I was going to say, how about we make this a regular thing?
Yeah, maybe.
Like we could even do it once a week on a Saturday or something.
We can see if we can do something regularly. But
yeah, definitely.
You must try and get Dave McKeegan to come on. You can.
We can set up a proper full-on one-on-one debate.
Yeah.
No, I'm going to get Dave to hate me, apparently. Anyway, cheers, Flatzoid. I'll speak to you soon.
Shot night. Enjoy and...
Well, there was a lot of derp. Jesus Christ, man. Oh, the amount of things that he understands I could write on a postage note, honestly. Thank you, everyone that did come in. It's been an excellently fun stream. I've done quite a lot of streams this week, actually. 4, and then I've got a new episode of Debate Shorts coming out tomorrow. So it's been pretty much something every day on the channel. I hope you've enjoyed it. I'm going to read super chats and go to bed because I'm tired. I want to say thank you very much for everyone that's watched it. I think we peaked at like 900, which is fantastic. And again, massive amount of super chats and support means the world to me. Yeah, Rick says a vacuum cleaner never works as well when it first gets it sucks less compromised but still works. Yeah. Oh, he doesn't understand what the second law of thermodynamics was. That's hilarious. He doesn't understand when angle of incidence changes. That's also hilarious. Nathan Oakley's balls for $1.99 says Flatzoid for top left. Well, I definitely gave Toon enough clips there to help, but still going to be Witsit. Don't you fucking worry. Turing Test 2, member for 1 month, says hello fellow scrappers. Thank you very much for being a member, my friend. Nathan Oakley's balls for $1.99 says when did Flatzoid last sight Polaris and from where? Never. Because he doesn't do experiments. Oh, he does do experiments showing that a camera underground would not see the sun. Which is true, I guess. His experiment's true. Stringer News 1 for $2 says outstanding in a field of view. Adrenochrome Slurper, €1. Thank you very much. PhD Tony, the only real person in the room, for $10 Australian says seismic wave and atmospheric pressure wave circle from the focal point to the antipode and back again over multiple circuits. Completely inconsistent with flat geometry. Earth is not flat. Yeah. I am trying to refine my argument around seismic waves and stuff. I'm not an expert on that, so I'm trying to make sure I understand everything perfectly before I take that into debate. Kuros for $5 says, all I hear and see from his viewing angle demonstration is how Flatzoid deserves top left 2023. No, Witsit. Dave Fair, $5 says, he was deceptive in the video by having the light over the paint can. Then halfway he stopped moving the can and kept moving the light. Watching it. Yeah, I know. That whole video... Right. Here's the thing. Never attribute to malice what can be attributed to stupidity, right? Just... I have to make the assumption that people like Flatzoid are just dumb as fuck, right? Because I don't want to believe that he's a lying scumbag. I mean, people like Nathan Oakley is confirmed, and Nathan Thompson, right? But, you know, in general, I want to give any flat earther that I speak to the benefit of the doubt that they're just stupid and not horrible. It's not always the case, though. Yeah, no eyes furious for... Mikey Cage, member for 24 months, twice around the sun, says he used a cheese grater, Craig. Very scientific. Are you kidding me? Member for 11 months, nearly once around the sun. You'll never make me change my pick for top left 2023. Failzoid. He does seem to have a lot of people rooting for him. He tried to debunk maths by making up unicorn farts. Mannerheim, £5 says, Craig, you will be receiving my medical bills. Apparently level 40 facepalm protection does nothing to prevent brain liquefaction. I did say at the beginning of the stream that facepalm protection level is over 9,000, so it's not my fault. Dr. Acid Punch Drunk, £5 says, I see why all the kitchen utensils now. He's doing domestic science. Next week he's baking flapjacks. Megan Santanis, member for 28 months, says Witsit Gamma for top left. Final answer. Damn fucking right. Dave McKeegan for £2 says, can we just hand out top left award right now? Witsit's not here, so no. Second best Bob, member for 4 months, says, I've been in Flatzoid's channel. It was mental. I did pop over a little bit. Brad Sweetman, $5 Australian, no message. Thank you very much, Brad. Druku1977 for $2 says, is there a link missing? I have a question. Hopefully you got a chance if you were in there. But I'm going to do more of these, get people in to ask questions because they're quite fun. Huge Arse, member for 10 months, says, I got Gleam to debunk the Black Swan in Flatzoid's chat. He tried to BS to save face. Screenshots taken. Will you mirror my upcoming video? Yeah, why not? Dave Kircher, member for 6 months. Oh, what a monster. One Flatzoid, one cup is about as watchable as the other one cup internet phenomenon. No, Dave. Bad Dave. One of my favourite people on the internet. For $2, for £2 says for €2. And then Robert Luscombe for $4.99 says, FTFE, please check your blood pressure. When Flatzoid said he could debunk maths, I was worried you might blow a gasket. Me fucking too, mate. And then Robert Luscombe for another $4.99 says, Flatzoid, what would it take for you to realise you're wrong? Never. It just wouldn't happen, I think. Poster X for £5 says, FTFE, does he want to see a physical demo of angular size matching orthographic view? No, he doesn't want to see any evidence that disproves his mental assertions. Nearcool, new member, thank you very much, my friend. Rachbot, best bot in the house for $5 Australian, says, Flatzoid for top left, especially after that whole ice cream shop thing. Rach, come on. You've got to support Witsit, surely. Barry F for $3 says, do nuclear engineers dream of atomic sheep? No, my dreams are... they're scary. You don't want to know what's in my dreams. And then Stringer News 1 for $2 says, Flatzoid made me a mod over there. What? Silly boy. Oh, well, guys. Thank you very much for being here tonight. I've had great fun. I've had a great week, actually. Mike Bertelson for $10 says, Flatzoid claim he doesn't need a model. It's just an intellectually dishonest cop-out. He knows he's got nothing. The reality model can explain and predict every single real-world observation. Every one. And of course, by reality model, he means the globe. What a great night and what a great week. Thank you, everybody, for being here for my streams. Gonna end, because why not, with the best rap song you've ever heard. This is Airplanes, a Flat Earth rap.
Can we pretend that airplanes in the night sky are
Albeit for
like
$2 Canadian
stars?
says, all
Should we
Flerfs
wishing
are top
for a
left.
brain right
Hell
now?
yes.
Brain right now. Brain
Brain
right now.
Good morning. These words come with a storm warning. Better batten down the hatches, grab some matches and brace yourself for a long day of misery. YouTubers give me the power to reach up into the sky and show you all that we live on the ball. I bring you science that's comprehensible. Your view is indefensible. You're reprehensible. When I was young, I never thought I would be here to see this. A pile of random nonsense dressed up as bullshit. Your ignorance will be the death of us all, like running head first full speed into a wall. You could always read a book, buy a telescope, set it up and take a photo of the moon, or just be a buffoon. I send you in a balloon onto the stratosphere on page 3.
Dave Keegan for £2. It's your fault, FTFE. Yes, it is. You're right.
Dumber than a box of hair. The wheel's spinning, but the hamster's dead, and you're as smart as bait. You forgot to pay your brain bill. You're missing a few buttons on the remote control. 24 cents short of the quarter. You're surfing in Nebraska. You're as bright as Alaska in December, and you fell out of your family tree. You don't have all the cornflakes in one box. You got an IQ of 2 and it takes 3 to grunt. The elevator doesn't go all the way up, and there's a vacancy on the top floor. Your antenna doesn't pick up all the channels. You're several nuts short of a
You're Mr.
fruitcake.
Sensible, calm down, don't go too hard. You don't need to ask like burying Flerfs in your backyard. You're a man of science, poise and grace. Mage 2 did everything to wipe the grins off the face. So Nathan, get away from those kids. The world is not flat and it doesn't have a lid. Recognize the differences between the textbook and the Bible and control yourself. Lay off your slander and your lies. You're a bunch of knobs poisoning the well of the youth, spreading lies that you like to claim as knowledge and truth. Stop spreading fresh bullshit like the butter on your bread. Maybe a musical assault will knock some sense into your head. I hope one day you'll hear these lyrics and smile, and you realise you used to be a 40-year-old child. Now it's time to wake up, open your eyes and see, and acknowledge the existence of.
You're a few clowns short of a circus. Your phone is off the hook. Your sewing machine is out of thread. You're all foam and no beer. You don't have all your dogs on one leash. An intellect rivaled only by garden tools. There's no grain in your silo, and your skylight leaks a little. Your belt doesn't go through all the loops. You couldn't pour water out of the boot without instructions on the heel. Your slinky's kinked, and you're proof that evolution can work in reverse. A few feathers short of a whole duck, one fruit loop short of a full bowl.
Airplanes in the night sky are like shooting stars. Should be wishing for a brain right now. Brain right now. Brain right now. Can we pretend that airplanes in the night sky are like shooting stars? Should be wishing for a brain right now.
thought it was over? Well, I'm still standing while you're swinging, flinging feces, talking shit just like the human centipede. You got the mind of a chimp, and I'm here to expedite your shore leave. Cause I'm a seaman, but not the kind I ripped up from your mum's gums. I'm the kind that sailed submarines and fired guns. I could float a boat across the ocean with my eyes closed, circumnavigate the globe with a compass and a bag of sausage rolls. Well, all you can do is nibble on your toes. I'll smack you with the hose that you taught at water level. Sit and swivel, you nasal gazing muppet. You can stuff it harder than the wallet stuffed by Warren Buffett. And I don't care about your sauces unless you're serving them. And I don't care about your lines unless you're curving them. Now step away from me, you're sucking up my oxygen with the vacuum where your brain should be, you dumb fuck. Remember, stupidity's not a right. Fight the flat earth. Fight the flat, 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 fight the flat,